Yes.
Okay, great, sweet.
Yeah. Our recording.
Microphone. This is a call to order. This is during Village Commission hearing. Today is March 6, 2024. It's 4:00 p.m. We're here at 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 205. The next business meeting will be Wednesday, March 20th, 2024 at 12 noon here at 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 205. And next month's hearing will be Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024 at 4 p.m. 111 North Front Street, second floor, room 204 in our normal spot. We'll go ahead and swear in staff. You swear to tell the truth, all truth, and the truth. Okay. You. Move on to the commissioners present. We'll start on the right this time.
Karen McCoy, Rachel Schultz,
Anthony Hartke, Chair.
Ned Field.
Alvin Strong.
But with this being a different room, we'll ask the applicants to sit over there if I could for them. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the staff approvals. And those staff approvals begin on page 9 of your agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself from GB 2403-003-303 Jackson Street and also GB 2403-005-313 Jackson Street.
I recuse myself from 303 Jackson and 313 Jackson. Not sure if I'm close, too close, but.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend the staff reports.
Second.
Clarification and recommendations.
So, thank you.
Good.
I'm looking at staff reports. Yeah, you're right.
Any
Recommendations.
questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Moving on to the meeting minutes from last meeting, February 7th, 2024.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept and approve the meeting minutes for February 7th, 2024.
I'm Mr. Chairman to recuse myself from GB-24-02-017.
There's a second on the meeting minutes.
Second.
Any question on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have the motion passes. On to the applications for certificates of appropriateness. Item number 1, GB-24-03-009, 595 South 3rd Street. Long trek up the stairs. Oh. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth. Thank you. Thank you very much.
For action for variance recommendation. Variance is 3312. From 87 parking spaces to 0 spaces. In previous, recommend variance providing reduce the parking requirement from 77 parking spaces to 0 spaces. 22-06-036. These additional for conferences to restaurant using the building. Staff analysis is at the March business meeting, the commission will no request for information for the applicant. Noting at the July hearing in 2022, the commission recommends variance for parking, covered use dumpster setback from side yards. The variance from the parking lot should be for number parking. HPO staff recommends no issues or concerns over the reduction of 10 additional parking spaces to reflect 10 restaurant use. Staff recommendation is for staff for the commission to recommend the variance as submitted, and the basis for that guidelines for that there.
Say David Hahn, attorney for the applicant. Yes, if Randy and I coordinated, we would know that one of the others is going to be here. We just met. This is not, all of you know, Chinto, it's been, some people percent CG Michael knows, been a positions in the neighborhood, has been very successful. In order to keep pace with kitchen demand, some additional square footage for kitchen and prep areas. This does not provide any additional seating. Space. And so that is the nature of the request. You probably know has a number of parking lots in the area. They also parking associated and have valet there, and the valet are able to use those lots. And talking about the town valet goes in there and double parks and does their thing.
Questions, comments from the commission?
So this is not 10 parking spaces for additional dining?
No, small kitchen.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're very busy, so we're expanding the kitchen. We're not increasing the number of staff members, and we're not adding any seating. It's all on the second floor. We've leased some additional space. 30% of that's going to be additional kitchen equipment, and the rest is storage for cushions, winter, etc.
So I misunderstood what this variance request was.
What they're saying, converting up the use.
The code makes it. Yeah, that's all.
Kind of a code
use
technicality.
variance, not a parking variance.
We already, we're changing the square footage of the restaurant.
Yeah. But it doesn't demand more, but just 10 additional parking spots. It does not. Okay, so that's off the table. We have to request it technically because the way the city calculates the square footage, whether it's seating or not, we have to count it as parking and parking accordingly. Okay. I don't know why that is. You had dual use of the same. Never mind. Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Put that. in.
No, God, no. I mean, even if it was for dining, I would say, okay. That's what's surprising me. We'll see what the city does when they change their zoning code. We'll all get our first look at that beginning of next month. Lots of these eccentricities in our existing zoning code. I'll go for the accessory trustees, but for a lot of the other stuff, just to go on record, not for it. And this is not the forum for that. So you probably know more about it than I do. So on item GB 2403009595 South Third Street, I move to approve recommendation.
Second.
Are there any questions on the motion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks very much.
This is being driven by building code. It's an use group, not, which is driving the zoning, so. Yeah, the zoning code, along in all restaurant areas, except for those that are in an overlay district, require parking at one, for every 75 square feet, regardless of whether it's seating or storage or kitchen or whatever, you gotta go corner to corner and park it all accordingly, which is strange. Yeah. But that's the way it is. Okay. Thank you all.
Come in.
Thank you, guys.
For a while, I'm gonna, just let the folks know outside what application we're getting to.
Sure.
Take the next person and let them know what, folks can come in if they want to hear out their application. Like not one of those. Yeah. Thank you.
Rob. All right, moving on to item GB 24 02 014 791 Mohawk. There, let the record show Commissioner Rich please show up. Settle, raise your right hands. But the truth, the whole truth, and the truth. You think so? Yeah. I do follow those things.
There's no step for action, but it's still an alteration. That alteration is for Windows and it. Place 5 windows. Replacing the 2 front east elevation windows with Pella Reserve 1/1 depth. I believe it's black. I made that addition on the agenda, but the staff report has the whole black. The windows are matched to the same size and configuration. And then replace 2 board side elevation with 1/1. Configuration is 2 1/1 double hung windows with a small mullion to be replaced with 3 1/1 double hung windows with no mullions. Staff analysis of the complete application was, and the following is from the now approved February 2024 GPC hearing minutes. The commissioner comments, the commission concluded that 1 large window on the first floor east elevation will be more appropriate. There are very few examples of triple windows in Trenton Village. The front door should be a solid 4.0 door as it's on the front elevation of the historic building. You have one wood building. And the sash of the new transom is too thin for the commission to approve the new transom, and the sash will need to match the width of the existing transom. After the February hearing, the applicant removed the door portion from the application and provided photos of triple windows in German Village, and then a 70 labor street. At the March business meeting, the commission requested the applicant provide the documentation indicating the existing window opening was not the historic size, including the framing from one side. And requested HBO staff confirm dimensions mentioned in previous window approval of this property and the check files for window work for the property submitted by the HBO staff has added 2 photos from 1988 of the 7 property, and therefore there is a window for the files that confirm there were no measurements for the windows, including the 19 street. Yeah. Property included the historic front porch that was constructed sometime after 1891 and before 1921. Sandboard maps and a 1980 portion of the rear story of the half addition allowed for the construction of a new 2-story addition and approved a new 1-car garage. A later 1980 COA referred to construction, including the 2 double hung front windows with 2 4-inch mullions and the width of the front door to be 36. No other COAs related to windows or doors like this. As they are not original. Windows set to match the existing size and opening are appropriate, but HBO staff is concerned over the change in the window configuration. Mullions between the windows. Recommendations that staff recommends the commission. And the in-law clarification is the conditions that condition being that, yeah. Into the window configuration that does have mullions which make the recommendation. So staff recommendation is, 01611, standards for observations, 1 through 12.
Anything else to add? Question, comments from the commission?
The application hasn't changed from our last meeting.
Well, we provided photographs of. I would add to that is, that was the, well, I didn't count, the one window and three windows seem to be about even with the two by far the least prevalent of the neighborhood houses I looked at. And when there was two windows molded together, in every case, porch over front level. So there was a visual divide so that the top windows did not have to reconcile symmetry wise with the lower level. And that is why those homes worked. And I am not against having a porch either, you know, which I was already thinking about it. And then I realized at the time, that that's probably what the house, and I knew that's what the house had in the beginning. And I would also like one. So I would do my improvements to the house. And guidance from you about what to do first and what to do now, knowing I might come back later and ask for a porch. And complicate those things, but that's, those are my additions.
I don't think the porch complicates this because it's not part of the consideration for anything you're asking.
That would be the, so if I were to have a porch, then it would be minimized as far as part of the design of the whole appearance of the house would be changed. And the of less importance if there was a front porch on with a roof overhead. So I could handle living with it because they probably wouldn't really show, which is the case from the, whatever it was, 19, that was from.
Regards to the photo, it looks like, talk about the same one on page 18, the application.
That's
80.
okay.
So typically on the front facades of these kind of properties, you have your window and door aligned vertically. And then the window and what would have been a picture window, you can see here, a large picture window would typically be roughly aligned vertically. You also have a little bit of that symmetry. My guess is somewhere in 1980, they rearranged the first floor, moved the door over, put that window there, the single window in, which should really be pushed off the right a little more. And then when they pulled the porch off, left the door in the new location, put the double windows in the picture window. And that's how we got to where we are today.
Right.
I mean, the historic, so be accurate is to have the door moved over and everything. We're not going to make you go move doors and everything. But it comes down to what is the most historically appropriate treatment to the openings that are there. Specifically that large window, which is 2 in this case. The variables at the 77 Frankfurt and the 804 Jaeger, if you look at the 77 Frankfurt, on page 16, you can see the side of the house has a double window overhead. Next to the front door, it's double window. So the rhythm of that facade is doubles as kind of the base, and the triple windows to make that first floor wider than the second. Symmetry's there. On the 77 Frankfurt, you have the 2 singles above, a triple on the first floor. My guess is, my assumption is that somewhere along the line for Frankfurt, flip that around. Talking about Frankfurt first, and now 804 Jaeger. So 804 Jaeger, you can see the door, the window, and then the picture window probably converted to a 3-panel window, the 3-pane window at some point in time. But that was probably a large picture window to look at the properties around the village, more historic. So not having a COA for that window, there's no justification for that being what it is, but it's been around for a long time. You're not going to make it tear down and spread by it. So changing your doubles to something, the double be triple be singles, We got to go back to what would be the most historically appropriate condition. And that's where we had a discussion in this meeting is do we think 3 narrow triples is more appropriate than 2 as it stands now? I think that's where I don't think we've got to a consensus that 3 would be more appropriate than 2.
Way back when David and I first started talking, he said, well, but, you know, whether it was the, I think that that's kind of windows and doors. He said with the German Village lights. And the three, which again, more of those than 2, so might be historically significant. But actually, you know, even though there's been a lot of time that's gone by, a lot of renovations have gone by, I still question whether my house is even Italianate. I question that. I mean, I know the history of it. It was a beer driver, which was probably a horse and buggy, right? So I'm not so sure if he followed the style. He built it himself, I can tell from the finishing on the inside.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'd go back to, is it Italianate? What makes it?
It's not a,
Right, so do we need to follow that, you know, that format for the window?
Italianate came up in the fact that you asked for a half-glazed door, which would be appropriate for an Italianate house and is appropriate. Don't have an Italianate house, therefore a half-glazed door would not be appropriate. Not part of the conversation.
What style requires a 3-mold window or a 2-mold window instead of?
I think the point of departure for this is what you had before, what you've got now. Where a third, 3 windows is something that's never been before, and you're making something up, to be honest with you. It's something nice. I'm not gonna say it's not nice or anything, very nice, but it would not, historically, there's nothing in this house that would justify call for the point of departure for 3 windows.
I understand that there was no test when they switched from 1 to 2. But,
Back
right,
in 1980,
okay,
A lot of things done in the 80s that we look back on now that the city advancement of preservation, study of preservation will be appropriate. People approved back then would not be considered appropriate today.
that what they approved was. Builders didn't follow.
Dr. Could I,
sure.
1980 is, just for the record, 1980 is before the creation and the approval of the German Village.
For the guidelines.
So now they operate from, well, the guidelines.
Ad hoc.
Yes, it was kind of at the discretion of the commission.
I was there then too.
Did you?
I moved away for a good
Okay.
number of years.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Four inches across and 76 inches high. I wonder too, if they're too narrow. But I've looked at houses and I've taken an 8.5 acre up. You know, I've like looked at other houses that have it. They seem like they're pulling it off. I definitely don't want something that's less appealing.
And the point here is the most appropriate thing is to come back with a single window.
Too heavy. Where?
To make it done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
I thought,
I'm sorry, what's the issue with the?
To have an operable window. The bottom sash is too big.
The 2?
Yes, the full with the,
One
just
window.
one big window.
One giant then.
Oh, okay, I thought you were like eliminating one of the windows and going back to the one window underneath. What did the original?
No, it'd be the big one like the original.
So we're talking instead of 2, 1, but why would that have to be operable?
Well, that's what there is. There is.
Be a bit kind of like that. And windows require widening the opening. They fit in the existing.
Divided by
Yeah,
3 is
yeah.
29.
Like guidelines to make sure follow the text of the guidelines here. Specific to this type of scenario. Before I jump into the 2005 update, the one note that applies here, which number 6 recommendations, avoid enlarging or downsizing any existing window openings. Replacement windows should be made with 50 openings, not vice versa. If we're not enlarging the window or our window opening, that fits that second part of that. First part of it, avoid enlarging without the window openings. About, again, number of windows inside the opening, but it's a question area. Update. Make the window opening bigger. About the extent of the rhythm and messing details.
Liken it to if someone house siding and replace it with aluminum siding, allow them to repair and replace like with like, but we would not allow them to replace it with like. Just because.
It's for the, on the side of the applicant, argument's sake is how much of the initial character of this first floor, the front facade is still in effect.
And I would take that, I mean, this house is pretty stripped down. But I don't think that justifies letting it get even changed more. You allow 3 windows to go in here, there will always be 3 windows in here, no matter what happens. Unless somebody comes along and wants to restore the whole front of it at some time with a single window, the porch and all that, but that's not the conversation.
My mind is if it goes to 3 windows with that extra space, there may be trim out on the window. The windows themselves, I don't know, the trim's really small and I assume that's a storm over it that's covering. But no, there isn't one there.
No, it's-
One of them looked like it had.
Just inappropriate cases.
So the windows plan in the house now, it sticks out for some reason. I think it's a pretty different window I mentioned. And then there is a roof with shank above and as far as from what I see and really like in the neighborhood, it might you might have a houses on my street that seem to have the same form appeal from the outside. They're down by the deli. I, I guess it was in the 800 block of Mohawk on the east side of the street.
I'm good.
Yeah, 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 it's all the way down. Oh, yeah, across from, yeah, down to the gallery. The house on the left. No, keep screaming, you were almost there.
Oh.
You have to keep going south.
Yeah, you're not quite far enough, but that was the right thing.
Yeah, at the light.
There you go.
There you go.
First. First this one? Well, more than that, like swing back, like two, no, to be a clockwise, another, yeah, that blue house and the green one next to it. Have the two windows at the top, larger window below. Even then, I mean, we're gonna be symmetrical, but the window, you know, the row of the,
You're absolutely right.
yeah. So I would like that someday, but until then, I never in architecture, I'm not familiar, I'm not familiar, period, and I know that you are. I can see that you're in tune to the architecture of the times. Modern day, you know, most things are not done in twos. I think my window is an albatross. So, wait, look, I saw very few double mold windows, and even when I did, they were cement. I mean, at least one line, the line of the window above was in line with the window below, and I'm never even going to have that.
Here's these two. One left is it's a single next to the door. One right is the larger next to the door. One on the right. It probably had that window opening enlarged at some point in the past, which is why it's there today. But you can see it's just the symmetry is off because the line on the left side of the window, but then it extends to the right past the window above.
And Ethan, I'm gonna disagree with you.
Okay.
Usually those are windows. Oh, it didn't always line up. If the one side lined up with the window above, but not. Well, that was, you know, you had a big piece of glass like that was an expensive item. You showed it off back in the day.
Mine might not be in alignment because they made it bigger, you know, before.
It's centered in the room, not the exterior.
Indeed, it is.
Say that we can do a straw poll. Is there any commissioners here who are for three windows in person?
I will say that, I mean, I was gonna say this anyway, and that is the trim on these houses is very solid, and the work crew that come in with the windows are also going to trim out my windows at that time. Not fancy at all, but, not plain either.
More appropriate cases.
A little bit of elegance to the trim and just a
Would you, single pane window, even if it wasn't upper? Back to what was there written?
At that point, I mean, I'm confident that at some point we will put a porch on there. So at that point, the window becomes moot, you know, how it looks from the street becomes less important.
Yes and no. I agree. But the single pane window, you'd have better sight lines out than one transom down or one mullion down the middle or two.
I really dislike that.
Okay.
Good point
That's-
there.
okay. All right, that's good.
So we haven't talked about a cottage window, which is what I thought was going to be my only option. And I've spent some degree of time looking around the neighborhood at both. I mean, I didn't know what a cottage window was until it was described to me popular in the German village. So I know now that sometimes there's a window at the top that's rounded, you know, mostly at the brick. Sometimes it's more of a 25% or 30% at the top, and then a really large window down below.
And that's typically a transom above, and then a larger single pane window below. My house has that on Jackson.
So you can't raise it.
The lower sash can raise, but it's only that
Yeah.
24, whatever, how many inches above it can go up, you get a little gap down.
Right.
But it's not built to be a full double hung window. It's double hung, just not like,
Right, but you can get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Right.
some, you have a true transom and the swing transom above. So you can let that top window swing in, allow air coming above, which is how you can operate the back where you should.
I wouldn't mind that fresh air, you know, it's one of my drivers there, and it can come in the top.
Let's say
You're describing the hopper style.
yeah, the hopper, in swing around.
Over a fixed.
Yeah, over a fixed window. The bottom panel will be fixed, but the hopper can open up to get the air circulation through. As opposed to the lower sash lifting.
Right, right, because it's the weight of it.
For sake of giving you something to move forward with, I think the other windows in the house, I don't think there's any pushback on replacing what is there. Hearing none. I don't think there's agreement or appetite for 3 windows in that large opening. I think you're hearing appetite for 2 or single large with a smaller above transom style. So with that in mind, 2 options. One, we continue the application and teach on the agenda for the next month. To let you go back and look at other options or the other option, we need to get moving on something. We could split the application into replacement of the other windows. And the first floor window continues on the next meeting. I'm not sure there's any value to moving forward. If you're starting work or not starting work.
Does that facilitate you in installation wise?
We can split them into projects.
Talked about every option I can think of and then one on top of all the different options. So, if I hear you correctly, you're okay with 2 or 1 solid or 1 with a upper window, whatever that's.
Transom hopper.
We'd be talking one big picture of the building and then the hopper.
Like the historic photo.
Yeah.
Which is sort
But it
of,
specifically need to be a one hopper window all the way across, or can it be 2?
Should be 1 all the way across until we don't see a half.
Make sure I can plug it in there. It should-
But Beale Street views, go to 366. Different style house, but windows. This side, I get. To the right of that house. You
So red one, too.
For the window on the right, number 1, there you go.
Yeah.
So you can see that right window is larger, it's a larger pane below, and the transom above. In this case, it's a mini double hung on top, not a transom, or not a hopper, but got a crappy stone.
Like that. Code photos are, photos in the file, but it's 40% of their addressable on the agenda off the 1 page.
You match the configuration of the window that's there, that's. We can't object to that.
Yeah, the-
1980
yeah,
Polaroid.
zoom in, you can see that there's a transom above that big window there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
It's hard to see within that scale. See it up there.
right, that's, okay, so. So comparing the house as it used to be, how it is now with the brick courtyard everywhere. So I could come back and propose to return it back to a porch.
Come back with the porch, that,
We'd love it if we did that.
the half brick with metal fence is not appropriate today, we're all back in the eighties, so it's kind of,
It's really the only thing about that house that didn't need to be changed, but, you know, I don't love it. I don't love it for the same. reason. So this is why I, haven't moved forward, because I just can't, do everything. I can't get it all in my head at once, but, the old picture shows the steps entering from the side, and they didn't have a garage at that time. So that wasn't technically a driveway.
doesn't need to do that.
A driveway now. And, if I'm as far as bringing it out to make it, wide enough to put some chairs on.
I mean, typically it's up to your property line, eventually, there's historic, evidence of foundations, under the brick, probably all gone, but there maybe some evidence of kind of how far out it went, but lacking any evidence, opposed to with what you want to do. The house to your left, looking at the front of it, looks like it comes out to the sidewalk. And how you build your stairs and the porch, you may want to have sidewalk, a couple steps to the porch, and that's where the porch starts.
Say that again,
So start from the sidewalk, a couple steps up, and that's where your porch would start. That's one way of looking at it.
and I don't know. That's good.
Other option, I'm not sure if it would work architecturally, historically appropriate or not, but having the porch come out, I don't know how far sidewalk is pretty, you get the porch coming out of the sidewalk. Stairs would be kind of set into the porch, which probably wouldn't work.
That's the only way I had considered it, and you're right, it doesn't work.
It seems like if you match the slope of the historic placement of the historic porch roof, that then would dictate how wide the porch would get.
Take the side of the porch.
Yeah. You have a photo that shows the slope of the old roof. So if the placement was the same, that would give you then, depth over in front of the building, how far it could extend. Further out you use the further out you went, where it would.
You look at 873 Mohawk, that's a situation where you have the porch with the stairs. That's supposed to be property. Story and a half cottage, a little shorter, but I think the porch is still, here's right there.
That,
Yeah. Wood, stone. Options there.
I'll have a break with you.
So would you like us to approve the other windows, or do you
Yeah.
want to?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll figure out, we have 3 options, and I mean, I don't know, but the only other,
For tonight, do you want us to just take the other windows, put those on a separate, separate agenda item? We'll split it, so we can
Okay.
approve those windows, and that way if you want to proceed with installing those, you can. And then we'll put the front window, the first floor window on a separate piece, and you can still go back and you're on the agenda still for next one.
Mr. Chairman, on item 02, GB 2402-014-791 Mohawk Street, I move to split it into part A and part B, part A being the front window and part being the remainder of the work. And of course, the door is not included in this application.
Any questions, or give a second? Okay. A second, dealer's choice. Any question on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it. That motion passes. Item A, is there a motion?
On item A, I move to continue.
Second.
Is there a second? Any question on the motion? Those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion passes. Item B,
On item B, I move to approve this.
Second.
Second, any questions on the motion? Those in favor? Against? I have the motion passes. There you go. All right, moving ahead to item number 3 is withdrawn. Item number 4 is GB-24-03-010, 774 South Sixth Street. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and the truth. Your name is?
Action. Exterior building insulation for a new window opening and a window replacement. To install a new window and a new opening on the north elevation first floor. Opening is 27.5 inches. And on to over to window, improved window first. West elevation second floor. And an alternate double hung to over to window and black. And then staff analysis, but combined for this view, the commission request. Search previous approvals for information. Each have confirmed that as of February 2000 staff approval to be away for the sashes of the front windows of 7. That's the wrong address. The property address to be replaced. 774 South Fifth Street to replace with new custom made wood sash. Housing the windows in the front were non-original, non-historic 6/6 windows, and the new on file with the approval from the February 2000 minutes and included materials package for new installation. And we're aware of it because the application is on file with the actual COA. As neither the windows from 2011 back replacements are historic materials, does support the replacement window on this site. The Sanborn maps have been added to the applicant's assistance. The address for a similar window was identified at 770 South Fifth Street. And the final COA was to remove an existing window on the north side rear addition and to add a new window and a new location for submitted drawing. That is to be relocated, but the window that is currently existing in the 2009 street are not in perspective of the photo of the property. There are also no photos in the file. The document is distinct condition related to 2014. But the 2014 COA materials are in the package for you. Staff recommendation, that staff recommends the commission's application in 2 parts. With part A being the second floor light for light window replacement, and part B being the new window and historic masonry wall, or vice versa. Staff recommends the commission approve approve the second floor window replacement as submitted, and continue the other part to for the new window opening to warrant compliance. The basis for that staff recommendation is City Code 111 standards for alteration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And different village guidelines for windows, recommendation 1 and 6.
Anything else? Questions? Questions from the commission?
Can't think of us ever letting somebody cut a masonry opening in a spurt brick wall, ever. Of anybody, of us ever allowing anybody to cut a opening in an existing. We wouldn't approve it.
Okay. I
This,
think,
your neighbors, you mentioned 770,
yeah,
which is at the end of the application.
yeah. So the owners of our house last year were on the commission.
I made a note here, new window openings in historic fabric had not been approved historically. Modifications to historic roof configurations, i.e. dormers, and conversion of existing historic windows to appropriate doors for functional adjacency purposes have been approved, but not just to create a window.
Okay. Staff will clarify that from HBO staff understanding with the 2014 approval on the screen, it was really 100% brain condition.
That would be different.
That is, this is the property that it's referring to,
Is this the one? Okay, yeah, that's a different story.
that the staff report is referring to. It was a little kind of unpacked the 2014 approval of this one. But this drawn here is a frame addition and then up on street view as a frame addition.
Allow windows to be cut in, it's usually on a wood frame addition.
Okay.
Really easy to go back and say, I'm gonna fill that back in, reside it, goes away, it
Yeah.
appears.
Mhm.
With brick, there's always gonna be evidence that it's cut in, because you're gonna have
Yeah.
solid cut brick, you're gonna have to put cutting in to put the sill and the header in.
Yep.
So punching new openings into historic brick is, I can't remember a time we approved doing that.
Right. So, yeah, just wanted to point out, you can't see it from the, the street, which I don't know if that matters. And then the other thing is the kitchen. In addition, where you would put from the other window. In the kitchen. So it just, I don't know, it just
They wasn't the kitchen.
A lot of times you.
We have living rooms that are not bedrooms.
yeah,
One story in the back or just two?
in the back it's two. Yeah, addition.
Skyline, that's not works.
There's skylight on the other side.
It's just. Out of living in the historic district, certain sacred cows, we don't cross.
I was thinking, put an addition on that. No.
Yeah, that goes to the neighbor's yard.
Yeah, but I have space on that side.
Right.
So the whole two-story wall has no windows.
On that whole side, there's actually a small window at the top of the stairs. Just.
Yeah,
trying to
but
see some light in there.
Yeah. they put in only as many windows as they could afford that would
Right.
do absolutely what was necessary.
This is a, where you have cottage, so typically.
I'm not talking about lighting.
We can have that.
Replacing, not this thing is not original, so I don't think there's any heartache with replacing the existing one that's up there.
Mhm.
So want to continue, if you want to move forward with that, we could opening from the application,
Mhm.
we can vote on replacing that window, so you can get that moving forward.
Okay.
If you want to our minds again on another meeting, we could split it. I don't think you're gonna get us to change our minds, so don't really recommend you doing that, but
Yeah.
it's not-
There's nothing I could do, like another option.
if anything, that would,
Buy the next door house.
unless you can show historically that there was an opening there at one point in time, which looking at your brick patterns, there's really nothing in there showing that there would have been.
Like to take the window out of the new window opening out of your application?
Yeah.
We can move, okay, so on item 04 GV 240310, 774 South Sixth Street, I move to approve as submitted with the modification by the applicant that the new masonry opening a window be removed.
Second.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Come in. Call it by while we're getting you here.
7 years, but yes. And 5.
Five. Yeah. Item number 5, GB-24-03-011, 584 South Third Street. Middle. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Your name?
Rob Bruno with Ace Fence and that.
Yep.
This is a request for action for the exterior building alteration for a deck replacement. Arbor planter and railing, and to install approximately 403 square foot deck with arbor planter box, privacy wall, and wood railing. The new deck suits the elevation of the existing. The railings to match submitted photo and all materials made of wood. Privacy wall is to be on the south elevation. The staff analysis of the March business meeting, the commission requested the applicant submit a simple site plan allowing the dimensions of the porch and house, or showing the dimensions of the porch and house, and requested HPO staff site plans from previous. It did submit additional site plan material, and HPO staff have added relevant COAs for the deck. The deck went through multiple construction and during construction, and during alterations to the deck and additions to the pool. So the deck has been actually finished with the pool. HPO staff provided the most relevant drawings and COAs, and note that most of the there does not seem to be clear justification for the approval of the deck and deck alterations in any of those past approvals. However, the first deck approval was submitted in coordination with the approval for the condominiums on Mazzell Street that are in the rear of the 584 South Third Street building. HPO staff are concerned about the deck because it is being completely reconstructed. As that complete reconstruction, and does the commission consider the existing deck to in code guidelines? Now, while the commission cannot require an owner to remove existing materials, elect to not present permit the reconstruction of elements do not be code. Privacy wall is not a fence style or type that would typically be approved in terms of clarifying with the applicant if the privacy wall would be over 8 feet in height with it being on an elevated deck and therefore considered structure by city code. Staff recommendation, the staff recommends the commission continue the application. The applicant time to revise the design. And that city code is 31611, standards for alteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. And also city code 31613. Guidelines for porches and stoops 3 and 6.
Correction of
The correction on the privacy wall height, that was from the ground up. So it's actually going to be no taller than 6 foot at that, or the existing at the highest. So that was my inability to read the application correctly. I put the wrong height down, sorry. And then the condition of the deck and how it is drawing water and foundation falling back towards the.
and it's rotting.
So how is what you're gonna build different from what's already there? That's what I can't figure out. There's not enough documentation in here for me to figure anything out.
It's exactly, we're doing,
Okay, that's, okay.
yeah.
For like,
100%, yeah.
Except for the one privacy fence configuration. It's different.
I'm sorry, yeah. Oh, I'm the, which came up.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know if you have a picture of that.
It's got a,
That part right there? Yeah. So, this would be going all the way across at 6 feet, is that correct?
That's right. And so that one section abutting the parking lot, that face wall of the deck would have that wall going all the way across with the the metal top.
Obviously, the challenge we have living right next to German Village Society is our privacy is at a minimum, given
given the fact that that's used for valet service for Cento, that we have parties there, that they have the market there. We're for it, we love it, but we also feel that some privacy, given the fact that you're dealing.
That would respond to you. You knew that when you bought the house.
We didn't know that they were gonna have valet service. We didn't know,
Michael's did.
Michael's did, but then they left.
Well,
No, well, we didn't know the market was gonna move down.
well,
That,
I know.
that we didn't know.
You're looking out there.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's, I get what you're saying. It is a consideration, but I'm pointing out the fact that you knew that. The other piece I would say is, I don't think the 6 foot high thing, okay, the full width, okay. I don't think what you're showing is appropriate privacy fence.
Completely fine. We're completely open to whatever
Yeah,
the
it needs to be-
commission recommends.
Totally alien.
Absolutely,
language.
yeah. I mean, we're, like I said, we're just exploring options here. So we're completely open to that. But we would feel that some form of privacy fence would be grandfathered in, given the fact that that was approved.
I'll make a statement I've made before when it comes to heights of fences, and specific privacy fences. On properties that have an elevated yard compared to adjacent public way, typically in this case, it's side yard, a little bit weirder. But a privacy fence is inherently privacy for others seeing into your yard, and 6 feet from the public way. On an elevated situation, it's not, so you have 6 feet, so you can't see out. Your head's above the fence and you can see out, but somebody down below is looking up, can't see you. That's it's privacy from the outside in, not from the inside out.
Yeah.
So having an elevated situation here, going up another however high, you already have the benefit of everybody else being down below. So that would be my comments to the height of privacy fences in this situation. I've got no problem rebuilding the deck, because the deck it's been there for around.
Yeah.
But yeah, so looking at the photo on page 27 of the application, that is the existing condition from outside your unit, correct? Correct. So this application is saying take what's there, essentially extend it to full length. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
With the appropriate, with it.
That's where I would say it would be 6 feet. I'm not saying 6 feet from the top of from the surface of the deck. At most, I'd say 6 feet from the surface of the yard. But that's, I don't know. That's where,
And I agree with where you're going.
yeah.
I think the privacy needs to be that people can't see you when you're sitting down there.
Yeah.
So and we've got a rule about 48 inches above the surface as a fence. I think that 48 inch doesn't necessarily apply to this, but maybe it's a point of starting and saying that the privacy of one, the whole thing is 48 inches.
You're basically getting the height of the wall in the yard.
People in that lower area won't be able to see you sitting up there.
So with the design of the privacy wall that was submitted, that was probably about 4.5.
Yeah, it's the same.
That is about 4 to 4.5 feet.
With the panel on top?
But then the panel.
Okay, I'm saying without the panel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Would a style like the neighbor's wood fence there with the spindle top or the picket top?
But you've got that on the other side over on your pool side too, don't you see? Somewhere, yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that either, as long as it's 48 inches.
At the
At the
highest
top.
point,
Yeah,
because then railing code becomes an issue with
and
36.
that's right.
And then
I think you need 42.
would one section like it is now be allowed for the height of that?
The other commissioners have to weigh in this, my opinion is it's already there.
Well, I agree with that too, and I actually don't have an issue with the extension because for them, it's a side yard condition and we do approve a fence in a side yard condition. It's well, behind the porch or any of those cases, and it is adjacent to a parking lot.
How can you have a side yard condition against adjacent property that's set down?
We've not had a few cases, not set up quite as high as.
Not as railing as this one.
Right, but we have had cases, and in some cases, we required them to, the fence was set back. With
I would say-
in front of
I
it.
know what you're saying, but the massing here is gonna be so big.
Yeah. It's gonna cover the house.
Yeah, along that side of it. Where typical backyard, yeah, but there's so much
What if
open
it was
space for
screened
your
with
side.
vegetation? What if it was screened with vegetation? I mean, there's room to plant, you could put horn beams in or something that, help to do that in the interim.
And I would say that if you have the lower fence, 48, call it
Yeah.
whatever you want, and then you put the horns outside of that to
Oh,
give you
yeah.
the extra
To
height.
give you the height.
Why not have fun?
Way around it.
But the planting could die and be ripped out, and then you're left with whatever's.
That provides a whole other, yeah, whole different landscape.
With the one section being there, that would possibly, that most likely would be approved to keep the one section.
I'm just thinking I would not be against.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
approve it.
So then if
The replacement.
if it's about height, then of the next section of wall, if we drop that to an appropriate 5-foot height and carry that all the way across, rather than it be the 6-foot and have the center 4-foot. Okay.
And to be honest with you, based on the requirement that we're saying 4 foot on either side, I would reconsider that middle section. I think you're gonna find it nicer to have the whole thing 48 rather than just one chunk of it bumping up.
I think they would be afraid to not be able to have that privacy in the event, once it's done at 4 foot, right? And never be approved again if it wasn't already there.
No, yeah, I think you can come back and make a picture.
Well, that taller piece does respond to the pergola, right?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
But could you not just put tree?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
The fixed handle is nice. I mean, shades are,
in there.
yeah. So then, have the, one thing I do want to point out, that the style of railing that is on that deck now would not be approved by the city of Columbus. Simply because it's slapped onto the outside of the deck. So I would like if we could show the picture of the railing that I submitted. If that is appropriate. That's the privacy wall there that we were thinking at maybe 36-inch tall. You see how the posts are inset the deck and the bottom runner, that I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
that like, when we say like for like under oath, I want to make sure
Yeah, so that is not for like, but that's,
it's acceptable.
to me, it's acceptable.
Okay.
You gotta convince.
So that railing would look the same.
Um,
That photo made it look like it's still stuck on the outside.
yeah, no, it's not though, because so that picture there, so the posts are braced inset the frame of the deck, 4x4 post, the thicker member. And then, so yep, we've got this is actually 2.5 inches inside the frame of the deck. The bottom runner, the spindles would then be attached to the outside, and the older method would be fine with attaching it to the rim joist of the deck, which is on the outside. This is actually how it's attached to the rim joist of the deck here. The lots of problems with that in terms of loosening of railing, but also harder to sweep where there's a lift of about 2 inches.
Yeah,
Yes,
but the spindles are still exposed on. the-
correct. Yes, yes.
There's so much going on here. It's so much of this discussion. It's not visual, it's not drawings. My suggestion, I think you need to come back with more documentation of exactly what you're doing. That's my opinion. So we have a better idea. We've talked about a lot. This is more of a conceptual approach to what's going on. I don't want to delay any more than what it is, but there's so many moving pieces here that I'm not comfortable with saying, hey, that's okay, but not based on pictures that we don't really know how to like. Okay, well, that's a good answer.
It was more the applicant have been a few for other commissioners.
So Ned, if you want to be on it, I'll be on with you.
Yeah, that's fine, if the other commissioner's okay with it, but it's.
Can you explain that, please?
So with the subcommittee, basically, the application on the condition that the new documentation shows what you're looking to do, more detailed drawings. It's submitted to that subcommittee for final approval.
And then that's not, so it's not
You
waiting.
don't gotta come back.
It's next to those a little.
You can get the documentation put together the next week,
Okay.
2 weeks, we can look at it, give a response back to each of them.
Okay.
With that, you would want a site plan, you would want the deck, the railing design, the extent of the privacy, yeah, so actual drawings,
Elevations, yeah,
Yeah.
elevations and planes.
what you're proposing.
That, I mean, if the, obviously, it's up to you, it's your property, you're my client, so, railing picture provided is really the only substitution that plan that has submitted. Wall height, you're willing to adjust the wall height. Whether we submit a 6-foot set of plan, I mean, like, again, we do the subcommittee, and we submit a 6 privacy wall on our deck, or on your deck.
You're gonna need some drawings or permits.
The permit is gonna be approved already. This is, I've done this for 26 years. That deck I've got the zoning approval, with city cribs as soon as we get the approval here. I submitted everything already. So,
I hate to say this, I want to see something that I'm gonna approve, that I can go, take that drawing when you're done and say, yeah, this is what we saw in drawings. Yep, this is what you do.
We can do the subcommittee then.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Hate to be picky, but it's just,
No, I get it.
yeah, too much floating around.
I appreciate your time.
Could the commission, into the list of exactly the items and like.
Yeah.
We need at a minimum, elevation of the south facade of the deck, showing the heights of privacy walls, railings, that kind of stuff. We want to detail, think of the railing itself, so
A section through it.
section through it, show you a little gap you're talking about, how the spindle connects and everything else. We've already got a footprint of what we want to have. to deal with it.
There's the two things I'm concerned with, is the railing.
It's kind of the railing.
Yeah, of course, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, dimensions, all of the dimensions. Okay, thank you.
So is there a motion on this application?
Mr. Chairman, I move on 05 GB 2403 584 South Third Street to move as approved, to approve as submitted by the applicant with the caveat that they will come back with the documentation we just discussed, dimensioned elevation south, railing section, better floor plan, how it relates, and, or just like, hey, it's exact same footprint as whatever, just to get some clarification on that. To be submitted to the chair and vice chair of the commission.
Motion, or we have a second, I should say.
Second.
A second, any questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
So in the subcommittee, so if this is submitted, you would approve that, we don't have to wait an entire month, is that correct?
Correct. Once we get it, we'll take a day,
Okay.
to look at it. We'll get submit to Nicole. She'll send it to us, we'll review it.
Okay.
And then
And we may have some questions, that's where we need to be, it may not be a quick thing, but
it'll be.
Yeah. That's it.
we'll drag it out.
All right, any other questions on the motion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you.
Just so you know, we'll finalize minutes in 3 to 5 business days after.
Okay, I just think.
And then you'll get the formal letter requesting all that information.
Yeah.
One note for you as homeowner, I have a very strong feeling about the house this day.
Sure.
House.
I know it is.
Okay, want to make sure.
Yeah.
I know it's good.
Believe me, every nail I hammer in the thing, every replacement we do, we love it.
Yeah.
We just want to keep loving it. Yeah.
All right, we got, some for item 6.
She's. Resolution. So number 7. What about 165 Desperate?
Not the applications.
I
Let
love
me go bring
that.
my sergeant boy down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see people eating dinner out there.
No one answered on 6. So,
All
okay.
right, we'll put a pin in number 6. Good. 6, skipping over, we're moving on to item number 7, GB-24-03-013-519 South Fourth Street. Once you're settled, raise your right hand. Tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Do.
Your name.
Will Bennett.
Much. Oh,
Request for action for an exterior building alteration and landscaping. For the exterior boxes to install wood window boxes with plantings on all 5 windows on the front of the elevation and for the tall window on the elevation. The window boxes will be attached using masonry anchors and the mortar with brick for typical installation methods. The landscaping and hardscape and the front yard is related to some brick sidewalk and a round pattern from the existing tree and celebrate brick additive approximately 3 to 4 inches in front. Metal planter with boxing for some site plan. Targets to remove the existing iron gate. In iron gates. Remove the existing brick walkway and stone steps from the side yard and replace it with any for a pattern that on an aggregate base. Install with freestanding water fountain to install water. Right in the rear yard behind the rear yard gate. Install a 6-foot tall privacy wood fence versus a site plan. Wrought iron unit. We can start the 40-inch tall fence yard and 50-inch unit. Parking area, and then to install planters for the landscaping first submitted site plan. Business meeting, the commission requested area, that gets up to the common front yard. Specifically, the commission edging in both the existing tree line bed and the planting bed. Right there. The structure will reduce the usability of the walkway and was concerned of the edging's proximity to the curb on the street side. Would the sidewalk width then meet requirements, the right of way after the edge of the facility walkway is. Additional detail, including an updated site plan with the fence drawing and an existing site plan to clarify front yard measurements. And clarify the window boxes will be attached using masonry anchors and HBO staff could check the file and located stamp drawings from 1971, showing a brick pillar and iron fence between 517 and 519 South Fourth Street. The existing gate does not match the stamp drawing of the file, but the approved gate was to be 5 feet in height. There are also no historic photos of the gate in the files for 517 or 519 South Fourth Street to clarify any existing conditions. Be aware. Staff recommendation, staff recommends the commission continue the application. Action where I'm city code and general village guidelines. The basis for that recommendation is city codes 311. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. City code 1613, standard for site improvements A and B. Plans for walk, sidewalks, driveways, patios, and parking lots. 1, 2.
help to Ed. Questions, comments from the commission?
Appreciate the rear fence elevation, but I don't understand still what you. Is it like a board and deck?
Yes, this photograph here on the plan shows kind of a vertical slatting. Behind that though, there's going to be 6-inch fence boards, so you won't be able to see through. inspiration photo, the fence is designed out of that.
Okay, so it's got there's a board behind every gap,
Yes,
and it's except for the rails on both sides?
on the one side, on the back side, it will look like a normal fence. On the parking side, it will have the vertical slats.
Okay, so I'm gonna reverse that. The better side is gonna be,
Well, there's,
what do you consider the better side?
I mean, I guess it's subjective.
So I think the more finished side is the better side, and that's the side that should be facing your neighbors.
Well, they have there's an existing fence covered with vines there. We're not sure if they're gonna be that or not, but likely thinking that they are. But
If they're not, since we're on the fence, item number one, on the site plan, you're showing the structure of the fence over the property.
Right, correct.
So you're asking us to approve a fence being built on neighbor's property.
Well, it's certainly, negotiable. We could on our side of the property if that's a problem.
I would say, I don't think we can approve you doing work on this property, but I'm here to
Actually not.
So that needs to move back onto your property. I understand returning to their house, that's.
I get that, yeah.
Greater structure, you're claiming property.
It's irrelevant to the design. We could easily bump it down. It's 5 inches, so.
My second question is, how do you intend, I'm assuming took a section for your fence. You got a horizontal board or two boards that your fence board attached on one side. And your other boards on the other side of that horizontal, so you've got a gap in between them, is that correct?
No, if you look at the section drawing,
Oh, sure.
there's a section drawing.
Okay, so you're basically overlapping them both.
They're right there.
Oh,
And then there's stringers, so there's 3 stringers. Here.
not like the rear, the picture.
So typically, when we talk about the good side, ugly side, in this case, you have one side of the fence. Your structure, horizontal structure is right now proposed on your, against your property.
Right.
Typically, we would require the nice side, the finished side,
Right.
being out facing with the structure in facing.
Well,
Basically, the stringers have to be facing.
Good. Clad the other side the same way.
Without that other fence coming down, I'm not sure how you can achieve that.
Well, no, yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying, where we're gonna be.
Yeah.
That, there's no world where that is, but we have not talked to the mayor, so there's just.
Those are my concerns with the fence. Understanding now, kind of seeing that detail, my worry was it was basically a shadow board fence, which is prohibited in guidelines. So, okay. That's what I would typically see.
That's the finished side.
Yeah, well, the finished side towards the neighbors. I don't think the other side's bad either.
So they could pull the fence onto your property. Let the neighbor agrees to have it on theirs, well, she, that is fine. Or letter of support submitted to the.
So I was gonna say, we need a letter from your neighbor understanding what it is and if they approve.
Makes sense.
The other question that I had, showing planting strip on the south side of the property, the parking space,
Yeah.
all that planting again is on the neighbor's property for the
Yeah,
most
we
part?
took it off the application.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
for staff to clarify, it's not on the, I think it might still be on some of the site plan material, but it's not that. We can, if. Like, line up that when we see it.
Window boxes. Focal point. How do you intend to fix those to the property?
Well, ideally, we would use masonry anchors with in the mortar between bricks below the actual. It'll be simple, cedar construction. So, is that the plan?
Fixing window boxes to historic masonry.
Joint.
If we approve it, my comment on that's going to be, if you find that the mortar's not holding, matching with the appropriate mortar mix.
Yep.
There's a lot of contractors say they're going to, and they don't. Having that box up against the wall, if that brick gets wet, it's not going to dry out easily, so you get a lot of aggressive freeze-thaw cycles. On mortar. Last item we had from this meeting. Front landscaping.
The sidewalk itself is not changing in its orientation design. However, we are adding a raised brick edge along the actual building and at 4 foot wide sidewalk currently, and the proposal is that sidewalk.
Brick extends higher than, rate that's established by the curb. That edge has to be set back 12 inches from the backside. It's there, and your drawing doesn't show that. Now, I don't know if you're putting a flush edge or a raised.
I think it wants to maybe just be flush.
Okay.
Then
it wouldn't be an issue if the
yeah.
land.
If we moved it over, we would kill the trees.
Yeah.
I think my client wants that, so I think.
So the edging is gonna be flush then? It looks like you're showing 3 inch max.
Yeah, that's along the house, but we're talking about that bed that's around the tree at the
Okay.
curve. I think probably just gonna become a sailor course.
Look at the photo on the screen now, kind of zoom in towards the bottom of the photo. It's like big old root coming across the sidewalk. How do you intend to get your brick border past that root?
These are sweet bay magnolias, and I imagine it would just fine to cut that root out. That would be ideal, and then we could relay all those bricks, suitable base.
In this vehicle staff, just clarify, it does seem that those trees are technically within the tree lawn, we need a bear sitting on the tree. So we just caution the applicant, they're not actually allowed to trim the trees without the approval from the forestry department. Which should be as well.
And the other question is on that gate. At the elevation, front elevation, showing a 6 foot tall gate
Yes.
flush with the front of the houses. Typically, when you see a privacy fence, which is what this really is intended to be, it looks like. Those are pushed back behind the first window on the side facade. Right now you have an iron gate, metal gate, which is transparent.
This is gonna be a wrought iron gate.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able to see right through it.
It made, it says proposed iron, but it doesn't give any dimensions or
It works.
spacings or anything like that.
Yeah, it's wrought iron fence, and we're actually pushing the gate further back than the existing gate.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, flush with the front, so. Back into the property.
Oh, I see. Setback 3'5" from the face facade.
Yeah, the current fence is 2 feet 3.
Like the existing gate.
3 brick lengths back.
Security has become kind of a discussion. This building, it's an interior design firm, all women owned. And they have a camera, and there's a lot of undesirable activity, we'll say, happening. So they'll freak out, and they're wanting, to have wrought iron gates. They want them to be wrought iron so they can see whoever's on the outside before they open the gate.
You can see that with the gate you got.
Yeah.
Question, replacing the gate you got, I really did.
I think design wise, it's not as appropriate to how they're looking for
I would argue yours isn't any more appropriate either.
in basis.
If they want a more robust gate,
What's that?
a heavier duty gate.
Well, they
The drawings to show the spindle are much closer.
they're a little, yeah, they're like, inch and a half closer. They're set.
But what do they mean?
Be wrought iron, black wrought iron.
What size? That's
What size are the,
Yeah, is it bar side, is it around,
it will be bar side, be bar side.
what size box?
square two?
Quarter of an inch by 2, quarter of an inch by.
I think I have it, it's a half inch by, 3/4 of an inch. There's,
It'd be nice to see drawings of that gate.
It's so heavy compared to what's there. I mean, really, I'm honest. Looks like a back fence gate, nothing decorative.
Trash enclosure.
Yeah.
a little bit more.
That part of it, yeah.
It's a little more modern looking.
Yeah.
It's, I guess that's what the intent, and, feel that the client is looking for.
Like at the one side on the existing gate, it's higher at one end and goes down, is that right?
It's got school.
Look at the guidelines, on page 118, recommendation item number 3, in fence construction, use traditional form, picket fences are appropriate. As we're playing board fences for side yard. Seven, keep high fencing at the rear of the property with lower fences near the front of the lot. Avoid obstructive use of the building. The city holding back the fence from the sidewalk, which speaks to our typical given tall 6-foot fence, bringing it back behind the first window. Typically you see 3-foot fences out front, maybe 4 in some situations. At number 6, got structural posts. That fence speaks to the rear fence we talked about.
Right.
Maximum fence height of 3 to 4 feet along the street, most appropriate. Rear yard fence should be maximum 6 feet high.
Fence that's there, the gate that's there is part of the what we're proposing, you know, is ramps up beyond 6 feet, so. We're proposing, I imagine we feel. I mean, we're open to spreading those out a little bit, that's.
I think to me, it's,
Framing.
The framing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
has frame.
You've got a decorative fence gate there, to me, that works now.
Mhm.
You're coming back with something you're very utilitarian and not street worthy.
what's here now is, it's higher than typical, but it's more of a typical form of wide spacing of pickets. You had the closed pickets up top, as opposed to framing the whole thing in, and making it more of a true security gate you might see on a commercial area development as opposed to residential area development. You might see it more in urban areas that are more modern in design, but just don't think it speaks to the rhythm of the village.
Yeah,
What's
this is a commercial, you know, lot, so I mean, that matters.
Put up residential.
You're right.
I would ask you to confirm with the owner, because it's attached to their building, so you're gonna have to patch
Mhm.
their building if you remove this fence.
And just keeping that gate until you get to where you want.
I don't think the location. It's more that the design firm doesn't like the design of that gate.
It doesn't look like it would be in a. Right.
For a long time.
That, other side of the property. Is that north? Yeah, there's a, or south.
South, yeah.
There's a higher gate, more traditional styling. So you're looking at that rhythm pattern again, so this being the decorative gate that it is, it still fits that rhythm, that style. But something more to that south property, I think would be more appropriate for what your the location proposing. Confirm that gate that's there, has been there since 2011. 2007 might be a different gate, but it's open, you can't even tell. So with all that, is there any other comments about what's proposed? No heartache aside from the fence location and the siding of the fence in the rear. This front fence. Anything else I think has support of the commission? Yes.
If I could. The application is to either repave or replace the existing curving area. Since asphalt in the back, I don't know if the commission had thoughts on a complete. Applicant wants to completely remove and replace the asphalt, or, if, I think when we talked, the applicant asked the staff that the applicant wasn't sure if it was going to be a complete removal and replacement at the time, or just gonna pave over and fix. I think the preference is to pave over and fix, but the application doesn't include total removal, that's what the commission has it.
Is there anything about pavements proposed in
This only code I'm aware of prohibits gravel.
gravel? Okay, that's what- okay.
Shopping society, a parking lot.
What happened was I think it's Columbia Gas, Trent. And then badly patched.
What a turn. It's really wide.
I don't know what they were thinking, but maybe they damaged so much they had to cut back.
Back.
But
Yeah.
it created a low point, so either of these.
Asphalt there, like for like. We encourage replacing asphalt with brick if at all possible, but.
No matter what you do, don't mess up the drainage.
The fencing around your OC, what, is that the wood fence?
Yeah, match yeah.
Are you,
Could be lower, 40 inches.
are you intending opening a gate in that?
No,
Or-
an L shaped.
Okay, so you're accessing it through your.
If you can't get planting removed from the application, you're not planting anything, you probably. It's down,
Yeah.
block neighbor side.
Put a gate on.
Right now, again, you've not included the planting in your application, so we have to
Right.
see as if there is a planting there.
Right. Let's just.
Wrap that fence around the OC 1 cents.
Sounds like we're gonna continue this. That's the chair.
I mean, it's the fence, it's the 3 sides of AC and then the fence out front, gate out front. I think everything else is acceptable unless somebody has any.
Well, and it's a letter from I mean, because of the landscape and the work that's going over the property line.
Which falls under the fence that we just mentioned.
Yeah.
before.
I think there's a little more work that has to be done here then.
I think if we were to split this, something we can approve right now is your plantings out front and the edging of the plantings and your window boxes.
Without.
The gate location needs to be moved. But the new gate needs to be moved. We have a more appropriate design that you're okay with the location.
I think it,
Normally it was 6 foot. Window, unless it's really transparent.
sometimes that like that window, but if you have tall wrought iron, traditional style. Front, but. Occasionally.
A couple back there right out of the corner.
On location, the fence will dictate where your pavement is to.
I would suggest.
I would say probably. My recommendation.
Yeah.
I want to move forward just yet.
Mr. Chairman, 07 GB 2403 013 519 South Fourth Street. I move to continue.
Second.
Question on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Yeah, the motion passes. Thanks. Right. 7?
But we're on number 8.
Not 7, 8. GV-24-03-014-165 Dexter Avenue. Both way, let the record show, one applicant's already on the, already sworn in. Raise your right hand. Motion to approve.
You?
Name?
Steve Herbert, Urban Order Architectural.
This is a request for action, in new construction and exterior building. Actions for a new carriage house and pavilion, to construct a new 24-foot by 32-foot carriage house. shingles, the metal ridge path. The trim is guidance space smooth wall that flat. Gutters to metal half ton gutters, exposed concrete block foundation. Person door. 4-panel door, garage doors to a 9-foot by 8-foot propane canyon bridge. Elements with painted steel design in the one. Windows be marked ultimate double column and compatible windows and marked flat with. Site pictures of the arrow gooseneck above each garage door and arrow wall studs next to all man doors. Also to construct a new pavilion and open structure with square columns and a panel exterior. The roof is to be the geographic. Metal sheet gutter, structural columns, be pressure treated post trap with smooth cement board. And the variants related to the carriage house were recommended with GB 23-12.0. The exterior operation to be existing garage is to install a new Marvin all aluminum glass casement windows and existing openings. To replace the garage doors with new insulated glass overhead garage doors with the doors being replaced. And the doors will be only the doors facing the yard, the alley facing door is to remain. Here, lamp. New 3-foot tall wrought iron fence supported and 4-9 stone columns for different site plan. Install a new retaining wall and curb for the site plan. Parts of the wall and curb were previously approved by the commission. Remove the existing stone patio and restore the yard space. The rear, and then in the rear yard, to install a stone patio. Side install a built grill area for the site plan. Install a fountain and trellis for the site plan. Gravel parking area and restore parts of the lawn. And to install poured concrete retaining walls for the staff analysis, as the project has been previously reviewed conceptually at the July 2023 GPC hearing. And the following is from the approved July 2023 GPC minutes. Commissioner comments. Commissioners requested elevation drawings of landscaping in the front. And then for the new carriage house, the commission confirmed the amount of lot covered will be less than 30%, either with proposed new construction due to the size of the yard. For the proposed double door on the carriage house, the commission lets know the width of the alley and if the width is driving design. Placement of the carriage house could be set back to allow for 2 doors over one door. The commission discussed parking variance would be needed, but because the driveway retains will allow for 5 cars. Commissioner requests the streetscape that shows the height of other buildings on the alley. Is the carriage house in line with its height? For the pavilion, some commissioners felt that it being more ornate than the garage and carriage house. Other commissioners expressed concern with the pavilion being long. The commissioner saw the garage and the carriage house is being more in utilitarian structure based with the grandeur of the house and the side of the lot and the ornateness of the effects. After March business meeting, the commission requested the applicant to close the sidewalks and private landscaping for neighboring properties and provide a section drawing of the fence and retaining wall area. And the commission requested HPO staff add the 2019 COA and retaining. Applicant submit the requested material and the retaining wall. Some inches that 2019 COA drawing or COA site plan is included. Just to clarify though, the 2019 COA is hired and this approval would be no approval. Staff recommendation and staff recommends approval and offer applications to submit to staff for review and approval prior to the issuance. The basis for that recommendation is city Operation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. City Code 311612, centers for new construction, ACDEF, GHIJ, and City Code 31613, centers for site improvement. Village guidelines for new buildings, garage and outbuildings 1 through 15, and just sidewalks, driveways, patios, 1, 2, 4.
How do you want to review this? Carriage house. Gonna break it up and talk about specific things or overall.
Knock out the landscaping first. I think that's pretty straightforward. And then we'll go back to the garage alteration, change to this garage and move the care chassis. Questions, comments from the commission about the landscaping?
Yep. I think this has come up on other ones. Height of the wall, before it was 18 inches, it's now more than that. It's got a fence on top. In that side of Deschler, there's one 6-foot fence with piers down the corner. I'm not sure if there's a retaining wall underneath it or whether it's just a slope. And I remember the argument at the time that that was a very ornate Italianate house, and that was some justification for all that. Plus the fence and the piers on one side were in. A lot of conversation about the fencing going west of that and then back down the other side where the issues are. All the other properties on that street, around Deschler, on the park, have fencing that are at the back of the sidewalk and at grade. There are several other properties with a similar grade profile that are resolved with only retaining fencing of piers. To me, it seems to be an overdevelopment of the hardscape relative to the other residences with the fence.
Questions, comments?
Well, the retaining wall is only along the driveway. Section kind of midway through section A. The retaining wall itself is 1 foot, 2 inches.
I have no issue with the tree wall,
Oh, okay.
the fence.
Fence itself.
Yep.
Brought this to the conceptual review, it seemed like no one had any big issue.
That's when we asked for a cross-section through the front wall yard and some other stuff to see what was going on.
That you mentioned 18 inches, looking at that section here.
It's the old one?
Well, the page 7.
Yeah.
I believe is the new.
Yeah.
Showing a 5-inch curb to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an existing curve.
Oh, that's the driveway section.
We asked for a section to the front wall all the way to the house.
Oh, I must have misunderstood that I saw. You needed a section from the,
I asked for a section from the front of the house all the way out to the street so we can see how the front lawn grade slope from the house down to the top of the wall to justify the top of the wall, down to whatever sub curb was there down the sidewalk down the street.
Gotcha.
We wanted to see all those relationships. And that's regardless of the fence. I think the fence is still overkill no matter what.
If your person in that elevation, 6 foot tall, you're good.
5'8".
You're good. But over that.
Right now from the, yeah, sidewalks up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to get to the top of the this lawn. Adjacent to the right, to the west, there's a brick retaining wall set back with some plantings in front of it. No fence on top of that. Houses to the west. Got a fence on top of the hill, but they're using greenery to screen it in.
We're doing that on this. There's gonna be a garden plus boxwood in front of the fence. Probably gonna be vines on the fence as well.
147 East Deschler is that address. Curves or terraces going up. That's in.
Yep.
That's a fence, yeah.
That's what Maggie's referring to, right?
Yeah, that's the one that the fencing on the east side was all in place when they came back with a bunch of site improvements. We let them add the gate piece and the fencing to the west and back to the house to be in line with what was already there. Then there's some, I don't know, it's still pretty, yeah, it's intensive landscape. No problem with any of that. Had to live with the fence. Justification being the elaborateness of that very high Italianate house on the corner, but everything else on the rest of the street is. I think if you could go back. This one, they came and asked for a fence and we made the point of not appropriate, too high, et cetera, et cetera.
Also putting a retaining wall,
They put a whole retaining wall.
which I would imagine that would. A landscape border. Yeah. There's plants and with the right. Plant should. Fall back behind the plants.
Way tall, way tall. Like I said, there are wrought iron fences on here, but they're all right at the back of the sidewalk and at grade. This.
Maybe one man out, I'm not opposed to, maybe it fits the ornateness of the house.
It doesn't. And that's just me, but the other side of it is, none of these houses had walls or fences or anything for 100 years.
I think it's like a visual screening. A screen and then view of the house, but that's right.
Establishing that line seems appropriate for the scale. This, you know, with nothing there, it seems inappropriate, even, you know.
I have no problem with the wall, the landscaping and all that, and making that border edge. I have no problem with it. It's the height of the fence and everything, right?
So what would you lower?
It's a 3-foot tall.
How far is it
I
from?
had the same conversation on the house next door. And that was,
Sidewalk.
I'll let Will talk about this more, but the difference that I see is the neighbor. Retaining wall that is. Or. We have a grade difference, and then we're pushing back 8.5. A fence, so we're not pushing our retaining wall way out there like the neighbors.
don't have it. You don't have a retaining
We don't
wall.
really have a retaining
You've
wall.
got a grade that's capped at top and bottom, I think.
It's the curb. There is a section that we didn't change on the previous COA drawings that show.
And the curb was it the curb?
Curb's 5 inches, looks like in that one section, the driveway section.
From the driveway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's 5 inches.
I assume that the 5-inch curb came down the driveway to the sidewalk and came across the sidewalk.
But the curb,
It,
the fence is sitting. It's behind it.
Don't know. Is that wall fence section A representative of what goes along Deschler, or is that just the driveway?
That's just a driveway.
Yeah,
But
we
that's-
don't, there's nothing that indicates what the fence is.
Well, there is a detail, if you go down the COA, the bottom,
Yeah.
there's a section showing what, we haven't changed that. There you go. there's a head shown in that drawing, but we're not doing a head. So that column is there currently built.
So this detail doesn't apply to your application.
It does, because it's gonna, it has not changed.
Expired.
Oh, okay. It does, we have not changed the design.
Yeah, so you need, if this is what you're gonna do, you need to incorporate this into your.
I just misunderstood what section detail you were looking for, sorry.
Everyone's okay with this section, which is unchanged from or won't change. It's specific. They should put a fence.
Yeah.
On top of it.
Just on top.
Behind the curve.
Neighbor who was denied the fence, you're saying your difference is that you're set back.
Scale of these properties and scale of the street, no parking, anything, it's.
Solid. I thought there was another application that instead of fencing.
I think we said that was okay. I mean, you could put a hedge along there and say, you're gonna keep it trimmed to 3 feet. And come back 10 years later, it's 10 feet, and that's the way it is. It's the hardscape, and it's all through.
Straw poll, fence says proposed. No, no,
I'm
you got 4-2.
The guidelines say that a fence in front yard should be low. Decorative metal. Is what we're doing.
right, but it's always low from grade, not your lawn. Sidewalk grade.
Yeah, we had people come back with, there was one in Mohawk that wanted to put in a 36-inch picket fence, but it was on top of a 2-foot wall. At the sidewalk, we said no. That scale of the person walking down the sidewalk in relationship to what's next to them.
That's my argument with that brick retaining wall. I think that's more invasive than slope.
Oh, I'm not gonna argue with you, but we got there with them on that. We were a lot of meetings on that wall. What they wanted to do, and it was really pared back from what was there. And I think it's okay. I think if they had a fence on top, it would be absolutely.
Fence was on the back side of the.
Like, doesn't make any difference.
To the yard.
Yeah, I don't think that makes any difference whether it's on top of the wall or back.
Or,
It's still that height right there.
oh, you'd have to mean.
House in the corner, tiny house.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like many houses in German Village have a fence around their yard. And I agree, they're typically, you know, not a perched condition, not a
Right.
perched
Good
yard condition, but to deny the ability to fence your yard doesn't seem appropriate to me. Because, you know, just because you have a slope in front of
I mean, I could see wanting to fence the front yard.
Want your dog to run.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
they had-
wanting-
it's like you said,
What invisible?
we're
fence?
removing a brick
It's
wall so they can kind of have a view out to the park.
So I guess I'm wondering, is there an acceptable way?
My comment about invisible fence.
This is for children.
It doesn't work for.
Big one.
There's a lot of improvement in the backyard.
They eliminated the lawn in the backyard, so the children are being booted to the front. It's a play.
Move the line.
End of the line.
Well, the lawn's not just a side.
Right.
No.
There's a big one in the back, but.
In front of the personal space.
Right.
Catalog, they took a ditch.
Oh,
It's so bad.
well, there's a ha-ha wall, but you're talking.
I don't think that'll cool kids.
So
Deep enough.
Talking about the thing where the cattle gets, where they put the grate,
Yeah, the.
No, this was a ditch, the cows would not go down and up, and,
that's the ha-ha.
yeah, that was it, yeah.
I would
Just
say
commenting.
I am for the fence, but my concern is looking at page 4. This appears to be a sketch rendered from across the street in the park. And the scale looks, to me, it looks pleasing, it looks nice, it looks appropriate in the scale. When you get into front elevation on page 7, that's where I get pause. And it's because your fence is at above eye level from the sidewalk in front of the property. On any other house in the village, that's the view that we're typically looking for, the passerby. That's why I think at the west end of the street, that fence, I don't think is being totally blockaded by vegetation. You were stuck with the fence because it was already there. That's why I would have concerns, what's that view from that sidewalk from the house? With this style fence, yes, more ornate, more in houses, but you're somewhat obscuring the view of the house from the sidewalk. You gotta get across the street in the park to really get that view. That's where I'm at. That's not the fence.
I think the one thing that's misleading about on elevation,
Yep.
and it's not showing that the fence is removed, you know, it's pushed back away from where someone's standing.
Yeah, I
in
think
the
we have-
landscape.
The rendering of this, we might have,
It might be different.
feel a lot different about what's.
Yeah, in the sketch.
I was supposed to be the same.
Well, I mean, granted.
And it's also, you know, when you look at that elevation, you're not seeing the context. Be able to look at scale, and so I, in some ways, I think that elevation could be.
Well, I'd say just indicating the effort of moving things forward, I don't think you have the votes
Yeah.
of the folks who are here. Got potentially 2, but not one on this.
There's no way of fencing the front yard.
Think it's up to
The front porch,
Way back.
so then if that's being, where would we go to back to find the first window behind?
Your options are if you go to the far east end of Deschler up to Jaeger, there's a fence there up against the sidewalk. If on the fence forward, I think mitigates that height issue.
Yeah.
And there. But barring that, I think that's up to the other commissioners. Is there a place that they'd be comfortable with fence being pulled back to?
Yeah. You're talking back behind the porch,
We find the first window.
Or in front of, for me, the front of the first window, that corner.
So we can go back and talk to our client about where to put this fence. And then bring back specifically that fence. And between where we're asking for it and
If we're saying this one, like that.
Yeah.
Basically, the front yard stays the front yard.
Yeah, you haven't got that fence between them. I mean, you're still, I mean, short.
We're okay with the minus the fence, if the fence.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say your other fences to the west are all down. So you're not gonna have to change.
That was the only issue I had with the landscape.
Any other questions?
just leave that giant brick wall.
What's that?
It's just ridiculous.
Oh,
The neighbor,
No, it's,
oh, the one.
now it's everything. That's what we're trying to resolve.
Any other questions on the landscaping? All right, let's go to the existing garage. Any questions, comments on the existing garage? There are no issues on the existing garage. On to the new carriage house and pavilion. Let's put the pavilion first. Any comments on the pavilion?
That, it's the same as what we had before, it's the panels that are. It's pretty simple.
Motion with pavilion. Carriage house. Questions, comments on the carriage?
So one of the things that I think is an old comment is we used to have a single door and a double door, and we changed that. Seems like a long time. 3 doors.
Sorry, if you have to confirm that that is, the mention of the double doors is from the July hearing minutes, so it's not a reflection of the current.
Way back when, one of the comments we had was originally, I think the driveway wanted to go away completely, I think at one point. Kept the driveway. And the conversation, if I remember correctly, was the fact that you now have currently a 1-car garage, which is now going to be the office. Adding the carriage house, adding 2 more garage parking spaces. A parking space at the end of the driveway, but you still have the length of driveway to park, double park. It's true park cars. So, yeah, in practicality, you have at least 4 spots, if not 5 or 6.
We can park 5 cars behind the.
Parking requirement is mitigated, in my opinion. It's really about the architectural part of the carriage house. Any other comments? I think it's just the fence, the only part of the commission. Would you like us to separate that out from the landscape plan? You want to remove landscape plan, or you want to separate this own?
Oh, so, well, we're gonna have to adjust some things on the landscape.
The application into everything else.
Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, on
All of us won't be building. I have to think about what that will be.
and when you come back with another fence location, you may want to just look at the land.
I'm gonna, one domino is gonna knock over.
Yeah, I figured.
I'll be back.
Is there any benefit to saying everything from the front of the house back landscape wise? So you need a whole. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I don't-
Big build. Architect doesn't do this first.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not.
Wait.
Okay, OAGD 2403-014, 165 Chester Avenue. I move to separate into parts A and part B, part A being everything but the landscaping, part B being the landscaping.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Yes, ayes have it, motion passes. Item A,
I have a actual question. When we were proposing this zoning variance, okay, wouldn't approve it in the one. But then that changed everything. And I was just wondering what the commission would have thought of eliminating the driveway. Like a weird request.
personally,
So like. Okay,
Yeah. First, to vote on part A.
no, that was just a question. That was just something that we thought would have been about.
Oh, yeah. So, but we haven't voted on, we just, we split it into two. You guys are getting ready to leave?
Oh.
No, so. Mr. Chairman, on item OAGB 2403-014-165 Dashboard Avenue, Part A, which is everything but the landscaping, I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Jump down there.
good. Questions on the motion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Against, ayes have, the motion passes. Item B for the continuation.
On item B, I move to,
my God.
continue.
Second.
Any question on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Be out of here.
Good.
God, I hope so.
Steve, on that driveway, if you look at it, I believe that's original driveway, original.
I think that's,
scope.
I think that's very rare. Yeah.
Historically, it should be. If they push back.
Yeah, I think Nicole and I started to have that conversation.
All right, we got 9. Application number 9. All right, let the record show that Commissioner McCoy has to leave the meeting. Item 9, GB-24.03-015-491 South Fourth Street. Raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, all the truth, nothing but the truth. Your name? Art Willet.
This is a request for action for next year's voter alteration and landscaping. The landscaping of the patio grading on Fourth Street, East Patio entrance, along accessible patio entrance. And then for the new steps and stoop on the north elevation entrance to allow the opening to be. The existing floors to remain 536-inch flat iron handrail on court, and the stoop to the in the store and the lightest to very 11-inch outdoor wall light with double glass panels. There's also to install a new ramp. I was there as a ramp, but you'll look at the drawings and see leading up to the existing entry door on the east elevation. They're submitted drawings. For this meeting, the commission suggests that the applicant bring the ramp and accessible grading to patio rather than in the right of way, and conclude that the stoop should. And the commission confirmed the applicant can submit revised drawings showing additional new stoops, which the applicant has submitted for the new and accessible entrance to that door. The applicant submitted revised drawings for the additional grading in the patio, leading up to the door to allow for accessible entrance. H2 staff do not have any concerns in restoring the stoops, including the existing opening. The German Village guidelines generally recommend the use of brick on porch bases or brickers, recommend against the use of brick. Sorry, I apologize for that. Recommend against the use of brick on porch bases and would encourage the permission to step aspect of design. Would a stone stoop be more appropriate at elevation? The staff recommendation, the staff does recommend approval with the notifications to HPO staff with the following conditions. And that the accessible grade property line meets the patio space. Stoop design to be altered, the stoop is not above the water table. And also the conversation about brick versus stone for this porch stoop. Recommendation is 01611 for the illustration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Standard for site improvement 01613. A, and German Village Guidelines for porches and stoops 1 through 6. And just to note, there were application material submitted after or just after the deadline on the for business meeting back. So some of the changes might not be correctly described in the agenda, as they are in the site plan, but the site plan material and what is being proposed for everything. So, any drawings and other materials there, so.
Anything else to add?
Yeah, I just, I saw that site plan and everything. Oh, whoa, that's not what I said. I did move the ramp or the curb cut ramp off the public right of way. It's now,
You don't have that.
that's right. That's what you discussed.
Yeah.
That's not the one they,
Yeah, because that's what I couldn't figure out when I was looking at
yeah,
it.
that,
We'll check, it should be in our digital files, it's not online, so I do apologize for that. I've been having an issue where I think my computer just disconnects right before it uploads. That's kind of explaining what's with that, I was hoping to reboot this afternoon and have to fix it. I have to-
site plan does show that the curb cut being
Okay,
put on site. And I also added another stoop on the, fourth. There's another, that way I have more leeway in dealing with the building department about my egress. And it should have a stoop there. And, yeah, brick, brick to match the house or match the building. There.
And I do.
On the,
On the
where
Fourth
the
Street
little
side.
cursor is now. Yeah.
Can you find a site plan that shows that from the larger ramp? Yeah, so this is,
That's the curb cut ramp.
okay,
That's
the ramp up like this and that just goes up like,
Yes,
Okay.
like a,
Oh, it's
like in a parking lot.
yeah.
No.
But I didn't want it with ramps on. both
Yeah,
sides.
I wondered about that because they're losing space. Yeah.
Pushed it too close to the other.
Okay, yeah, okay, good.
Okay, the building itself, we'll say it's at 100. Right now, that little entry, that little nook is 6 inches lower. So I first had to get that little entry level up 6 more inches. And then from there ramp down to regular height.
So this stoop water table just takes off.
Well, if it's at the water table, it's no longer a legal egress. The platform outside has to be level.
Level with the door entry.
So that's, yeah. And there'll be other buildings in German villages like that, but legally, that's the way it is.
No, you're right.
Like that's what one push ones and down.
Yeah.
pushing it all.
Yeah.
Like residential.
Some public, the only thing I want to say about this is the surface material being brick is not appropriate. It really should be limestone treads and limestone surface on top.
I think had another picture of the one, like 2 doors down, which is all brick. It's old, so.
Yeah, that's,
But-
I've got brick in my chest and if I wondered what like, they need to go to wood.
181, I think is the property you're thinking of.
What's the?
181 Livingston, they've got stone. If you go west, there's one over there.
And then the one at west is the one I took a picture of.
Yeah. 143. You got the precast concrete steps to the left side and the right door has the stoop.
Yeah, right. And the stoop is all brick.
There's another, these other, somewhere along this Livingston, there was a brick stoop in the street view, but
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, either one does fit and it's. They're both, so.
not the Livingston, but on the Seymour dates, go back a year. On 2021.
Lines.
On some steps and then
What you're doing.
It doesn't matter.
You're waiting about those skyward facing words.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah,
That's
well,
why they didn't build them that way.
wanted first to do brick is because the planter on the east side is brick. And there's also a half wall on the property next to ours that is also brick, so.
Okay. All right, any other stoops? Light fixtures, we've got a light fixture. Traditional little lantern fixture. Railings look fine. Any other questions?
There are the two, there is changes to approaching the entrance on the east side, the Fourth Street side. That we're not in the online there yet.
Yes.
That door there, I believe, as well as.
All the doors are there. And the grade,
Yeah.
the grade of the patios, that's.
I give you a site. There's the box around that entrance right there. I just wasn't sure if that was working, it was there.
That's that other secondary stoop that I added this time. So it's like 12 inches tall.
So, yeah, I comment on that sort of thing. To clarify what
Same thing with the stone.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe.
So all stone or
Well, and that one's gonna end up being almost all stone.
Yeah.
see that, yeah, this is in between two brick planters. And it's. With this, I mean, the ramp on the end right there is
The
all.
ramp is an extension of patio surface,
Yeah,
as far as
right.
I'm concerned. These are our walking surfaces. The brick is just.
Ones like that, just be sort of matching.
I think the rise,
Right.
Yeah, it should be the
I
four.
like the water tables thing. Or just not try to match it at all.
Well, the risers are 7, whatever your risers.
They're, yeah,
Any questions? Applicant, the question is, are you willing to, patients for the students to be sent brick?
Yeah, I haven't thought at all.
From item 9, GB 2403, 115, 491 South 4th Street. I move to approve as submitted with the applicant's variation that the tread and surface material of the stoops is limestone, the depth of the rising.
At the entry.
Entry doors. Thank you.
Second.
Questions on the motion? Favor?
I
Yes?
Okay, I do have one question on the, it's like on the front one where I have actually a lot of brick on the base. Would that stay brick?
Right, but it's set back a little bit from the limestone?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe out on the,
Nobody else?
on the thicknesses.
Okay.
I'll look, maybe measure from others.
6 inches, maybe ish.
Typically, the height of the stone is what your riser height is.
Yeah. Doesn't count, like the top. Stupid.
Should be the same height as what the riser height is.
The treads are.
Yeah.
You know.
The treads
Right,
are
should be the same, should be the height of the riser.
So whatever the difference.
Which height is the last step, so it should be.
All right, so the only part that's gonna be the
Yeah.
bricks are the side.
Yep,
Okay, so it's only the side that.
Right.
Visors will. So.
one piece.
Mason's gonna have a fun time.
actually big.
What sides? Are
So
super,
on the stoop, if you go to the elevation,
First.
so basically, step is the limestone.
Yeah.
Limestone. Under that limestone, basically, you need brick, it's only the top half. Step in the stoop is stone. Okay, sure. All right. Thank you much. All right, on to 10. You have an application 10?
yes.
Well,
Well, it should be everywhere.
It takes a minute to remove you.
I would need.
Steve. All this in, item number 10, GB-24-03-016, 147 Clement Avenue. If you'll raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, all truth, nothing but the truth.
I certainly do, and my name is Eric Sherrill.
Much.
This is a request for action for interior building alteration and operation for entries and porch and general materials. This is divided by, building elevations for the work items listed, so. Around the true exterior trim. For the custom built single porch rail, on the east elevation. We have factored finished wall and steel railing on the second floor porch. First floor patio. On the south elevations, we're going to do the same window and increasing wing size to accommodate a new door. New wooden door, wooden. Wood supports. On the west elevation, there are no design changes. All materials, masonry papers are the M&F cloud ceramics and midnight iron spot. The gutters are 6-inch K-style gutter. The roof is a GAF slit line. It's a 6-panel entry door. Comes in. Siding is existing, repaired, replaced, and match existing. Repair, replace siding. Roofing, gutter, soffit station to match with like the materials. The landscape is to install new plantings for submitted, site plan to lay a new concrete walkway in the front yard for submitted site plan. Construct a new concrete wall in the rear yard for submitted site plan. All, 16-inch square concrete paver set with lemon time, ground cover in the rear yard for submitted site plan. Garage is also part of the application, and there are drawings for the garage in the, materials package. If it's not going to hold it properly, we can pull them up, we can cut them. So that is part of this. The staff analysis, is that the following is from the approved June 2023. That was, the application was completed at that hearing. It's for the south elevations and Commissioner should have to align with the new door opening and then with the window rather than left. The commission requested more detail on proposed work, especially material information for the first design. How the porch will corner that it is in, it should be pulled back from the east elevation corner, flush, and the porch exterior. Window openings, as permitted to be removed from the windows. There is evidence of another opening that is currently bricked in, and there's evidence of the stool in this being door. It's opening with the opening of the window or door. Porches should be similar in appearance, guardrails should be similar in design. Commission recommended looking for evidence of the surrounding porch outline and design of post porch around the design, and then in conversation about the proposed garage, the commission recommended looking at the term. Construction of garages. In the 2-car garage and proposed the commission like to see 2 garage doors. After the March visit, the commission advising the applicant confirm the block gutter will be retained and what the railing material will be in the second floor board. Also requested the applicant submit photos of the front porch area and verify the siding materials in the drawings. The commission specified not to put the roofs over entrances. I recommend the applicant consider removable fabric awning. I noted the paver and the design is not typical and will be attached to compensation for hearing. And asked if there are any zoning variances required or concerns for lot coverage with the garage construction. The commission staff added historic photos to properties and where maps, previous review of information, and COA for the variance recommendation for development. Staff added the requested information, including photos from the 1980s and individual. After it was removed, sometimes it's of the property. Staff recommendations, staff recommends the commission continue applications will not be applicant to revise their designs to more in line with the city code and German village guidelines. The basis for the recommendation is city code normal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So new construction, A, C, D, E, F, G, J, K, L, and N. These German village guidelines for portions of 2, 3, and 4. For garage and outbuildings, 1, 15, and
Anything else to add?
I don't have anything else to add.
On your site plan, you call out for a new concrete walk out front. Right now, it looks like it's wood timbers and I don't know what else.
Yeah.
Typically concrete walks, appropriate, typically brick walks.
Okay.
Question is on the plans, there's 4 terrace. We have information on how this terrace is planned to attach to the structure.
8.
Typically, have these kind of porches, terraces, call it what you will. Attaching it to the historic brick, not permitted. Putting posts back by the house to support the truck, to support the terrace deck is more appropriate. Okay. Attached to a house with anything, you want to go to the mortar, going not the brick. The idea, first of all, you take it off and not damage the.
True exterior terms.
New wall in.
Okay.
The front. There's currently no porch. Any evidence historically of porch being any kind of shadow lines or anything on the brick.
The one that was removed in the 1980s, that the side one,
It's actually a picture of the house with the pool.
a front porch.
Yep.
But that one that was removed in 1913.
It's very odd, yeah. There's some squiggly line there, but I don't think that was a column. I think it's some,
Tear in the picture.
Photo.
something, that photos.
Putting the porch back,
You know,
want to be more,
here. That's,
traditionally, if you put the porch back and there's existing porch there previously, you want to try to be more matching of what was there. Don't have that as a porch. If you don't, then it's a hard sell to put a porch on. So that's kind of your guiding principle there.
So the one there in that photo, I mean, it's pretty hard to tell, but it looks like the pitch of the primary difference is it looks like the pitch might be a little bit shallower and it's hipped instead of a single pitch. Is that?
Columns in front.
I think that's,
There, that's a
there, yeah. I think the roof ought to be, yep.
match the main house.
With that little deer stuff.
Right.
Might just be on short piers to build the glory up and see what works there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that photo submitted by you all or did it come from?
So the files, and this is the condition.
Yeah.
I tried several different densities to try to get these to come up and they're just
Okay.
pretty degraded.
The rear porch awning. Don't see that. And as say massive as it is structurally, fabric awning, so typically more in keeping. This is the rear of the house though, so put up to the commission to determine if it's appropriate or not in this location.
It's stuck with fabric awnings even in the back.
Last, calling out for 6-panel doors. House kind of gutters are up there currently, are they K-style? Box,
I believe they're K.
if they're the K there, place them in K, it's fine. The box, go back to box, we shouldn't put Ks on. Don't look at rounds, so.
Yeah.
Tough to- Um, Railing on the porch, the mid porch.
That first time it's in the world.
Just wouldn't was, so they were like directing people to like dinner.
This,
Horizontal.
this supposed steel looks like.
Yeah, like that type of metal railing, they're fine with.
Looking at the south elevation. I can give you the details of that, I apologize. looks, yeah, look in detail actually on page 7 of the application. Looks like the cap of the column sticks out proud of the porch above. Looks like a drip edge, you can drip right on top of that column, you rot problems in there. Look at the elevations looking the other way, it looks like that porch overhangs the columns. Just constructability detail there, you might want to take a look at. At the south elevation. Proposing, south elevation, bottom left window, proposing taking small window, enlarging it to a door. Right back there, is it?
No, that was a frame addition. I don't know the time period that the addition was from, but it's not part of the.
Questions from the commission?
So you're okay with the elevation converting one of the second floor windows?
That door is existing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where the fire is.
Spiral.
Yeah.
Spiraling.
Commonly stuck.
When replacing the doors, transoms. Plan for transoms. As you replace the entire opening.
I would think that we would, leave as much in place as possible. I think the lower one is, I'd have to investigate that a little bit more.
There it is, if it's transom there already, they're historic transoms. Want them to stay, a lot of times the door manufacturer want to come in and put a new transom in place of it, they want to replace the entire opening. And a lot of times their details don't match the historic details, especially for the transoms. Hard to tell here if that's the true transom size or there's some kind of like storm over the transom right now.
Form or something in the photos.
I want to get some better documentation of that. I apologize if I asked that earlier, I just didn't notice it until now. Garage in this, I didn't see it on the agenda.
There was extra, so it's not there. So it is part of the application. I do apologize for not having that. I filled out, but the design is materials and,
For true exterior siding.
the material for the garage are clarified on page 11 as well.
There's guidelines are very specific about rakes and fascia boards and corner boards and cetera. That's. Garage.
Talk about the garage details.
Yeah.
Page 116 of the guidelines shows all that.
What's that?
And itself, it's just something typically don't approve. Garage, I'm not sure if there's any pushback on that. On primary structures, we don't have this
Yeah.
structure. I'm not sure if we have that. That's the question. Wait, is there any pushback on that? Okay.
To
All right.
I would just say to see clarification. Right. So right now, let's say horizontal step.
Okay.
In all of your applications. Brick in all of the elevations on the principal structure siding.
Oh, gotcha. The bush out there.
Light fixtures on the garage, you're proposing, the gooseneck above each garage door. Then on the exterior wall sconce, where's that proposed at? Roger House.
The,
But when you come back, have the fixture shown the elevations. That's typically something that folks want to put in a house. We want to see where that intended from the house is at the garage. We've been round and round and round about garage doors. This is a flow bay, steel. One full smooth. Not bumpy smooth, right?
it's one of the only two that are manufactured to have a fully smooth. Finish.
Variances before. And this is gonna get variances for existing conditions. That get taken care of last time through, or we gotta do it for this.
I think it's all, yeah, footprints, everything.
Yeah, the whole
What people
development
are-
has been all
Yeah.
passed over, passed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I said no, there's been existing.
Passed over.
We got the existing conditions in with.
it's on.
On to the other side.
Landscaping, is that part of this as well?
Yeah, it's shown on the site plan. That was pretty much perimeter.
No fences, nothing like that.
I did see on the agenda listed out, so just double check it and make sure that's part of this.
Double check, I think, on the site plan. It's a new concrete walk between the house and the garage, not a new concrete wall.
Oh, yeah. It should be brick road.
Guessing all the white space in the property is grass.
Yes.
Lawn. Go ahead.
Does the commission have any proposed for the rear yard? Is the, internet cloud ceramics midnight iron spot on the page with the material sheet, and it's not, a paver that, is typically by the commission, or just hasn't been in the time I've been with the city, so I just wanted to clarify the commission's, standpoint for this application.
This is the rear yard.
This is the patio that's on the side.
Brick pavers. Column, middle column,
Age,
third one. Set on a concrete base for this patio.
We're going for something a little bit more unique there, something a little bit more modern. That might contrast with all the rest of the existing.
Cut around, you got the house bumps out past it.
Anyway.
On that detail, sorry. Page 7, the detail of where those pavers hit the end of that patio. Modular brick row lock color matching that existing house. So we're talking about existing.
That's probably something that we need to get coordinated.
Last question, just looking at the detail. Same detail, PT post wrapped in FC trim.
That was a leftover, that would be that's our typical detailed fiber cement, but it would be,
Or fiber cements in there. So
Yep.
in detail. And your railing in detail, aluminum versus welded steel. Next question. The overall development plan 12 shows a tree in the front yard. Don't see one in the photos. Or the landscaping plan, once it's by Burnham. You can put back there. All we all understand, there's no tree there. We're not proposing a tree there.
will be required to put a tree in somewhere.
Okay.
How do we feel about a tree in front, in between the house and the sidewalk? Or should it just go in the?
Already being required to put a tree in, is there any kind of specifications on what that tree is?
The only requirement, I believe, is it is a shade tree and it is installed at 2.5 inches.
If you think you have enough planting space out front for a shade tree to not be a problematic long term. Okay. Doesn't fit there. There's no place to put it.
I feel like there's, the front is fairly fully treed along the driveway. So I think back.
Ariel is pointing over there saying mature trees, that tree right in front of the property. lawn, so yeah, you might not be able to get a tree, but not planning for any fence along the, sidewalk or anything.
Not,
I think I saw hedge on the one side and iron fence on the other, wasn't sure if there was anything planned.
on both sides.
Okay. Other questions?
I don't have any other questions.
Any questions?
No.
Work to do to come back,
Okay.
the application if you like.
Yep.
10 GB 2403016147 Thurman Avenue, Route 2.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you much. Item 14, GB-24-03-017, 764 South Third Street. Once you're all settled, you'll both raise your right hands. Oh, well, okay.
Sorry.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name?
Julie Bullock.
Much. Oh,
This is a request for action for the exterior building alteration and for new construction. These, to construct two new additions on one story rather than 13 square south elevation in the rear of the 2 stories of structure with color architectural windows, fiber panels, and then full light glass door. And the 1 story 665 square foot addition on the rear with east with metal brick wall and brick fence, and with the color architect series reserved, and all doors from color reserved double dimensional full light doors. Also to enlarge one window on the south elevation to restore the historic size and install a new window. Replace a half round gutter on the historic structure and to paint all wood elements in Sherwin-Williams corpus. And for siding and Sherwin-Williams urban bronze or trim and accents. The staff analysis, the following is when we approve, GBC. One position. The commission suggested that while the layout of the roof is different than what is typically approved, it is appropriate to the existing conditions of the structure. Does appear subservient to the front of the structure. The commission provided that gutters for the addition should match the gutters in the primary structure. And the commission requests that with the application comes a request for action, the applicant should submit a drawing showing how the roof of the nook engages with the structure. The commission suggests the case of window might be more appropriate for the ground snow. The staff noting the nook is referring to the smaller addition on the, in the corner of the structure. After March for this meeting, the commission requested the applicant submit a demolition plan. And noted the current photos, the current photos in the current format, and a section drawing for the roof engagement under the existing eave. The commission also requests clarification on the proposed unit. The applicant did submit new photos of a demolition plan drawing and clarify that the eave drawing is shown in the drawing on sheet 6, which is on page 16 of your PDF. And the chimney will be brick to match existing. Leave this using outlines. Staff recommendation, that staff recommends approval and have clarifications to be submitted to each. New approvals prior to the issuance of recommendation of City Code 301-11, and alteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, and 12. City Code 301-12, the machine description. And German Village guidelines for additions 1, 2, 3. Also relevant to this, but not listed in staff report, is the German Village guidelines for windows 1 and 6.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much what you saw before. We do have, a buyer for this property. This is going to become the rectory for St. Mary's. So that changed the plan a little bit. You know, we went from a master floor to 2 smaller bedrooms. The priest. Or the breakfast room moved down to tuck under the existing roof. And we also, slide windows inside instead of windows that would begin requested by the person. I just want to clarify one thing. So right now there are, structure has like a K-style gutter, the first story piece. So we were gonna, you said to match that, we're actually gonna replace that with a half-round gutter. It's, and a half-round gutter on the sheet. We're not, but that's on like the one-story portion. We're not doing anything with the two-story gutters. So it is cut like this is the existing, but then they have like a K, like an OG gutter, I call it OG, case, hanging off of it, like,
If it's a perpendicular cut, then the half round is appropriate.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
that's right.
Yeah, that's a rule. Yeah, if it's plumb, it's a K, and not plumb, it's.
I just thought the half round.
Yep.
Looked better, frankly.
Yeah.
I did have another question brought up by your communication on the. Right now, there is an existing concrete walk that goes from the garage to the house. And our addition is coming, you know, on top of that walk. So I'm relocating. So on the site plan, I called out for a concrete walk. I just want to clarify this. I didn't think it made sense to just like cut it off and go to brick, but if that's what you want us to do, we can do that. But I just, and they're gonna probably do some landscape work in the future and they'll some. Right now, I do have some concrete called out, so you won't need to change. Stays, yeah, if you look at kind of a dotted where the new is.
Brick is more typical. Yes, but this is a yard blocked by the house.
If we can let anybody put a concrete patio in the back.
That's right,
Yeah.
I just wasn't quite sure.
Yeah,
what to do. So
yeah.
go ahead and call it brick.
Yeah, or brick for now, yeah. Bigger.
Yeah, and I do have a natural.
Two questions are in reference to elevation. Elevation. So on page 14, there in the center of the rear elevation. There. So on the as-built east top elevation, there's a window on the original brick addition.
Yeah. We're not disturbing that.
Okay, so that's not being disturbed. Your proposed south elevation to the left, you're showing a new chimney.
Yeah, but it's in.
On your proposed east elevation, there should be a chimney blocking the peak of that back roof. I just want,
No, you're right.
trust me, guy, anything else give me,
Yeah, no,
and seeing the window there dashed, I was like, are we taking the window out back there?
that window.
And I got a question, I'll propose this to Ned. Knowing the property where we have an existing, you know, kind of keeping the trim and everything to show it, this, we're basically taking the existing framed addition and extruding it out. South elevation, do we need to have anything that explains visually that they're.
It's just- I think a gesture at this point of that siding doesn't make any sense, to be honest with you. Change the massing in the roof and
The new connect.
connector. I think it's great that you kept the scale of it and the footprint of it. I understand why you had to change the roof line and, no, I think it's worth a discussion, and thanks for bringing it up.
Sure.
I think putting in a board down the middle between the two and saying this with the original corner one doesn't make a lot of sense.
Make one note, so putting a new window, reopen historic brick opening. Just for the record, there's evidence of a historic opening, whereas bringing it back to what it was as opposed to punching a new hole for the brick, which you mentioned earlier on application. Your elevation just shows your header, your sill, lintel and sill flush with the window opening. I'm assuming we're gonna extend it out to match existing.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I mean, that's so weird because it should be bearing on the masonry.
Yeah.
If you go to,
That one of the pictures of the back, so I can see. I'll check that.
Can't see it.
Yeah, right.
The two-story house, you can see it.
Yeah.
and right there on the brick addition,
Yeah, it does come out.
it pokes out. If you look at the opening, picture, what was there, you can see the brick kind of notched out beyond. I thought it was just a quirk of quick sketching.
Drawings.
That leads me to ask the question, so on this new connector, extended connector, the window trim tend to match,
Meant to be
Would
left there, they have like the 5/4 on the top and then
that kind of detail out
the. I
through
thought
the
it was nice.
Final drawings for this. Fix the levels and sills.
I just
so we-
know.
Well, this is all part of the residence. There's no garage like at the back, right?
They're actually, there's
Except detached garage.
last question, apologies for the commission for starting conversation. The breakfast nook. Have a detail cutting out, it looks like. So it's sloping from essentially overhang
yeah.
out, so you don't have,
Correct, but I have it sloping two directions, because I like that, this level.
this came up on another application a couple months back. How, if you're sloping, at some point you're gonna be below the eave where you're attaching to the house. Construction wise, I can maintain that long term.
You have to
So, on,
come up and then flash up and around and under the. It helps with the kind of use we have on this. Have to worry about more than anything is snow. That for the overhang under the gutter.
we go page 4, photo.
We're gonna be replacing gutters, we can,
So basically your breakfast nook is sitting right here.
yeah.
You're
Mhm.
connecting somewhere, assuming
Right on.
no higher than the drip
Correct.
line edge.
Mhm.
And sloping down, my guess is gonna be below that drip edge as you get to the back side of it. Right?
I actually don't have a gap because I'm coming right to it. If you go back to the section
The
page,
upper end of the roof or the bottom of
the
the
bottom of the page.
I mean, I'd love to. I didn't think you guys would let me do that. I'll be honest. I can provide you with it.
Gotta be,
too
Very.
gotta be at the top edge of the roof
Yeah.
where you're at the house,
Mhm.
opening both directions.
As it comes down, it's gonna, yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
Very, very end, if that's as low as you get, so from here to here, the entire slope coming this way.
I'd have to check. It's a good question, but I would say that I think it is, let me look at the dimension here. It's longer than it is wider. So, yeah.
That to me, that's where my question is, how far is this drop? Where's the high point, where's the low point on the drop? And then whatever you do, you're gonna have this triangle open,
Right.
so, and there's people can't just have that, just seal that off.
I was just gonna say, let's back on the,
Outboard.
You're going
yeah,
half inch per foot,
yeah, it's happened for foot.
More than squirrel home.
Squirrel
looking
home
at
or
roughly
back.
about 6 inch drop, give or take.
No, it's a good point. It's a good.
You don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll fill that, I'll correct that.
there's like 3 people in the world who could flash.
No. I mean, the
Make it laugh.
contractor did, so.
That's all I have. Any other questions?
Constructing top that window.
It's. I have to go with the, ice and insulation and.
Right. Um, On your recalibration, if you're trying to keep that high point of that nook roof at or below the drip line of the addition coming back, we go back and look at that exact same, at the photo on page 8.
Window back there.
That's the highest point.
That's your high point, you got it floating away.
Yeah, you're going down.
Yeah, it just. But it helps me if I can engage the top instead of.
You still got.
But I'm going to do 2x6.
Might just punch it back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have been there and be.
Mhm. No, it's good.
Where that window is. So.
Questions? There's none. Motion.
Continuing,
Something we get a. Request for action tonight. To the correcting. This DD. Church is anxious.
Is there final details that are, relatively minor to the commission? It could be a candidate for a subcommittee, to get this final results sent over to the commission.
So I've been drawn just at breakfast and I'm trying to figure out how I'll fix this together. My other
can I
question,
listen to?
we need variances for the existing conditions. Principal structure is less than 3 feet away from property line, the north side.
So it's an existing line. I'm permitted to extend along the lines of the existing house. However, I'm 3 feet away, but I can only add on 50% of the living existing house, and I'm below. So it was our intention to do this without variances.
Go to page 15. But I think what's gonna end up happening, just based on what had come to us in the past, Once you started adding addition onto the house.
I just, they cannot make you give, and I talked to Christine about it, but
Okay.
they cannot make you, rectify existing conditions as long as my addition is not working. That's not closer than yours. So frankly, I could push this addition north, then I could have an, or, so that's why I dropped it.
Your addition has to be less than 50.
It's 50% of the living area. And it doesn't count the basement. I guess that's what.
New additions, pause and new variants.
Okay, yeah,
Want to get it
that's-
together.
Yeah.
So I'm doing, you're gonna see it next month. I'm doing one next door, and originally I had it further south than the existing. And because of that, I triggered side yard sound variance. So then I had to push it.
Okay.
When you trigger a variance like that, then you're
Okay.
required, but
Bring something every day.
no, I've been sent this through 3 times. It's very.
I guess the question for seems to be, is just kind of drawing clean up. The only question mark was the breakfast note, connecting piece. That's something you want us to look at in the subcommittee, or is it something you?
Just kind of verify from
Sure.
what you're looking for exactly. I think staff can review it. And the subcommittee will also be.
I think I'll be on.
I was gonna say, it's a constructability issue,
Okay.
and that it's her, as a professional architect, to fix,
Fair enough.
and outside of, in a way, outside of our jurisprudence.
Fair enough.
Right, I'd say, yeah,
Or the contract side.
or the owner, when they see how it's built, makes a change order to fix it.
Yeah, well, the owner is the contractor.
Oh, well, that's even better.
For now,
So basically, we're good there.
yeah,
The walls fall down.
yeah.
All right.
So on item 11 GB 2403-017, 764 South Third Street, I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Clarification, corrections to the drawings to go to staff.
Second.
Lintels, chimney added, and other stuff. Clarifications. Oh,
Oh, you done that?
Yes, I'm taking that out for.
Okay.
On the list.
All right, we got a second? Still seconding. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, motion passes. All right, going on to item 12. Conceptual GB 24-03-018, 33 East Frankfurt Street, let the record show. So let's go on the record. Raise your hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Your name is?
Michael.
Oh.
Is the owner?
So 6 is not.
Your, the correction to staff report was 12, and solicitor sent court 13. So you've seen it, I give her 12.
Okay.
So that's. what-
Thank you.
This is 12, Mary Frankfurt Street is it's a conceptual application as an operation and new construction. Part of the exterior building operation is for porch infill to enclose an east elevation porch for the new thermal pastoral transom, big strength and windows to include main exterior grade plywood panels and one existing window to be enclosed within the new bathroom. It's also for new construction of a garage, constructing a new one-car garage off of Frankfurt Street, with the curb cut being in existing condition. Property, the garage will be 22 feet by 12 feet, and the materials are to include wood siding, standing seam metal roof, half-round gutters, and children, carriage-style stock wood garage door. There is a variance required to allow lot coverage to 57.68. It'll be required 50%. Other variance conditions may be. The exact analysis of the March business meeting, the commission requested the applicant verify the existing lot coverage. To verify that if any work will occur to the neighboring property, then the existing porch supports will be retained, and if the door is a true wood door. Lot coverage is 49.93%, and that does include the existing porch because it's a covered porch. The garage construction would bring the lot coverage to 57.68%. The work will occur to the neighboring property, so the brickwork ends at the property line. The existing column is a square 8 by 8 and it's not original, and the applicant proposes to replace it with a more detailed corner. However, the applicant is amenable to leaving the existing and that is the commission. The door is a true wood door. This is conceptual, so staff recommends the commission offer feedback that can be used by the applicant for keep actions required. Is city code 311 stands for alteration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. City code A 3 and German village guidelines for additions 1 through 4. German village guidelines for new construction garage and outbuildings 1 through 15.
I think it's a little bit of a unique site. He currently does have parking on site from the brick pavers. He just recently purchased the property 6 months ago.
Thank you.
So everything that's existing was done by a previous owner. We have understood that originally this was a duplex many years ago, but whoever he bought it from, they converted it to single family. So I think that's, and then at some point, I mean, my supposition is there was a porch all the way across the back, and then a portion of it was infilled for like a little vestibule for the house. That's where that kind of big window is. We just think it's, so the porch is one question, and then the other one is the one car garage we're proposing. He just wants it to look better, you know, on site, to have it as part of the garage instead of just parked in the backyard. So that's, have some storage space, of course. So he has talked to, you know, all the neighbors to make sure they don't have any concerns about it. I do want to bring up a little bit of discussion too. There is an existing brick wall, kind of a curved wall. I don't know when that was built or approved. I talked to Christine about that. She did say that existing wall will probably require a variance as well. So, right. It's just because it's on. Any other variances that may be required, the lot coverage and then just setbacks for the existing.
Brick wall, part of the variance.
The brick wall would be a required because of the height.
How high is it?
It is about 59 inches. Yeah, that fence is a little taller than 6 feet, the neighbor's fence. Well, I don't think so. It's hopefully. That's the plan.
Existing?
Yeah, the plan is to just leave it and. Someone don't know about it.
I think, the big items on the table, which could probably be little items, lot coverage, obviously, we're over 50. In this case, we're not really adding
We're not.
effectively
Yeah.
any coverage besides the garage, it's already part of the pavement.
Mhm.
So I think I'm okay with what's proposed. Does anybody else have-
Just eve overhang at the property line.
Yeah.
It's gotta be some.
Wood, architecturally, rather than having a picture of what about so it's area, black tissue.
I will say that parking has been letting us do the overhang. I mean, I don't really, but it's not part of the minutes. You know, different plans examiners look at different things.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But you're right.
I should have asked.
I know.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I think I will need to bring it in a little bit. I think that's a good question.
That's my concern, because the other alternative is to chop it off and that doesn't work.
Yeah, so I'll just reduce it. I think he prefers the traditional character rather than a flat roof. He's very much into architecture and peaks and aesthetically pleasing things, so the aesthetics of, and he wants some storage space about, you know.
On your west elevation of your portion building, there's a little panel on that light fixture. There's the panels on either side of the door are not light fixtures.
They are like pictures, I don't think, they're not anymore.
I would suggest a can lights up there like watch the wall rather than.
Houses on that.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. You read your mind. They're probably on side doors and stuff like that. Yeah, a couple can lights up on the top, somehow up there.
Oddball, better detail, on
Yeah.
your existing structure, you have vertical cut rack tails with a half round gutter.
Yeah.
Typically, you have the perpendicular cut rack tails with a half round gutter, the vertical cut view is K style.
From the house that I can.
Yeah.
I feel like the garage could be. Can I just,
I mean, if you would want to do perpendicular cut
Yeah.
rack tails, then you're.
I think I could do that, and then what that would do is that. I think that would be a good solution.
Yep.
I just saw some.
Better go tuck under there and your bed over in the middle there versus.
Right, last longer.
Yeah, and then I don't really have an overhang.
In building the porch, are we anticipating that the foundation of the porch is okay?
We think so.
Get that,
Yeah, it seems, I think, I don't think it's original.
Yeah.
It's not like 50 years old.
And I would just say that leave the existing column.
Okay.
wrap it onto the.
Don't make it any fancier than what it is, but
There's actually a basement access right next to the porch, so you can see.
Just clean up some of the lines, portions of the face. Hazards and the bottom, not matching the side, and then there's a transom.
And what the transom.
I was like, I'd like more light, but if it doesn't work, then it doesn't.
No, it's fine. I just want it to kind of be consistent
I know.
around it.
I assume German Village is still requiring separate notification for variance requests, is that?
This meeting, on the site plan. All the brick paving going to the neighbor's garage, there's confusion over what's in scope, what's out of scope. Obviously, that should all be gone. When we submit, just take the hashing off and leave it that way.
Oh,
Not redoing the brick out there on the sidewalk. Don't show the hatching, just so it's clean.
oh.
hey, are you doing any pavement?
I mean, they're gonna have to patch back in at the apron after the garage.
Yeah, so I wouldn't go show anything but what you're showing.
Okay.
Any of the drawings, less questions. we asked.
Yeah.
I
Super.
would just emphasize how much paving there was on it, but
Last question is. And the landscaping fully yet. Plan on planting a tree next to the garage in that little half round space.
I don't think that room is.
Yeah, I have a little bush.
Oh, you have a bush there? Okay, great. Bush out there.
I just saw that there's trees on the site.
For your bush.
I just figured I put some really plants.
I'm happy to put a bush.
I can just.
There's too much actually. No worries.
Then siding material on the garage. Wood. We have a test cases out for, another product of the on the side, but. Should let me push off for a year or two.
Thanks.
The feedback I'm getting from contractors is for
That's a question. Around my windows, the area there is starting to rot and stuff. Do I have to come to before you guys if I'm gonna like repair a board and paint it? Same color, obviously.
Get with staff.
Okay, sorry.
A lot of times you can put something,
All right, sorry, my bad.
rather than taking out the wood that's there, there's solid materials you can apply to it and kind of putty fill it and then paint it. That way you not have to rip stuff out.
Okay.
But if it's truly beyond, like, you're gonna have to demolish it, rip it out, then we gotta make sure staff takes a look.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool.
Because it was conceptually having no, that allows you.
Now, the only last thing I say is make sure you look at the packet guidelines under the garage section for trim details, typical widths and everything. Make sure it looks a little thin.
okay, yeah, you know what I did is I just matched the dormer.
Yeah. Just a little thin on the edges. Cool. Anything else?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect. Thank you very much. I'm excited.
Don't believe all doom and gloom here.
Not at all. It's barely painted.
Right, last application, item 13. 13, GB-24-03-019, 255 Sycamore. Once you both settled, please raise your right hands. Tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Your name?
Sure.
You?
I was looking at black Republican and it's your living position and window replacement. To balance the existing east elevation porch with from facing South Third Street, we're constructing a new enclosed entryway on the same side as the existing porch. Siding to be wood or boral and color to match existing foundation. Porch steps are to be installed. Also to replace the existing windows from wood carved and also windows. Analysis with the March business meeting and commission by city staff. And then the description on the agenda to reflect proposed demolition porch and have no request for information from the applicant. Application materials should include the first design that was submitted for the porch enclosure, and that is page 23 to 41. That first design was reviewed by staff and with preliminary feedback. The applicant now the first half of their materials, but we left the previous submission in just so the commission also had a chance to do that in case that was the staff recommendation is this is conducted feedback that can be utilized by the applicant. Environment proposal for review at the future DPC meeting. Basis for the staff recommendation is City Code 3111611, stating the corporation 12345 9 to 11 12, and City Code 3111612, standards for new construction A through N, the German village guidelines. And the window replacement on here is for 3 windows. On the rest of the house, but it is not a configuration. As a staff approval, so it won't come as a request for action for that configuration. With
Yeah, the enclosure is to add space into the kitchen area to allow for a more functional kitchen for the clients.
the porch, I believe appears on the sandboard map. I think the Columbus sandboard map for the last one was 1960, but I think I put them on there, but I know that so I can't say for certain the age of the porch, but I know various elements on the property that are kind of like the kind of curved that section that you're seeing on that elevation for the east is on the sandboard maps, but I can't confirm with them.
One comment, so this is facing a public street, visible public street, so that's one consideration that the commission will take into account, as opposed to some backyard kind of porch, like a glass application.
Could I suggest when rather than conceptual, I take the color out of these and push it out so it's a little clearer and easier for us to see what the line work is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Flat roof.
It's, on the addition, it's gonna have a low pitch roof, yes.
Okay.
One option was that.
Yeah, we did show one option with the flat roof. One of my concerns from a exterior perspective, we looked at 14 existing elevation. The distance between the windows and the existing porch roof where it connects to the structure, got that gap. You flip down 2 pages to page 16. We're basically up to the trim. There's 0 separation between the two. Not something we typically see. That's why back visiting it, I was the one that said that we shouldn't call this an infill porch, it's a demolition and rebuilding addition.
Okay.
In the spirit of the porch. But that detail there, I'm not sure if a 512 pitch is necessarily needed. Can we get by with the 412? Is it getting into shingle warranty issues? What's driving that pitch change there?
Ceiling height is,
Yeah.
the location, ceiling height. We're trying to delineate the addition. Yeah, okay.
To me, to go to a flat roof, I would say if you can get something visually similar to what's on the existing,
Okay.
that kind of gap spacing, I'm not sure what that pitch needs to be to achieve that. Just there's some kind of breathability in there inside it. would be.
Okay.
For you putting behind the two windows, are you putting solar panel, what is going right?
We will black out that window,
Okay.
so for more cabinetry. Yeah, and they are trying to maximize cabinet space and
Yeah.
storage space, and that was, part of their goals.
The, window was, in spirit of the window.
So then I guess how are you gonna treat the window? Back of the casework, that's,
Yeah, we would, paint a panel and install it in the window. Blacked out, you would not see casework.
Historically, with the commission. Black from the interior, basically because it's an interior element, it's not within the exterior. If they were. But it's encouraged to make it black.
Kitchen layout as it is, and just where else you can position all the parts and pieces without blocking the window.
Yeah.
I know, working on renovation, my house, countertops going across, using the openings. Rather than putting kit, they were just putting counter across that opening, so you had an open space below to get that light through, but put the there. Right choice.
window be blacked out on the front elevation.
Possibly look at relocating the refrigerator and maybe running cabinets,
Yeah.
case cabinets across the face and. Or we can definitely entertain
Yeah.
that and look at.
I mean, potentially if you just shift the sink over to be, look at those windows.
And
are
we'll go
nothing.
across the windows.
Yeah, and then moving the range, moving flipping.
Options just not have the double windows. It's-
That was also a
There it
second.
is.
But
Yeah.
And then that would be the preference, that would actually probably be our preference as well.
Detail to look at, and I can't quite tell from the pictures. But on your elevation of the existing, so page 14. The low roof, to the right of the divider line, you're showing that kind of engaging over that trim, the vertical trim board. Don't think it actually does. I think it stops shy of the trim board. You've got a gutter running down there. So your proposed elevation for that is incorrect on page 16. But it kind of flip flops is built out. If that's gonna be proud of that facade, this facade. Is that one to wrap? I'm not sure what the current porch does. I can't quite tell if it does that wrap or not.
I remember that, I had I think it did wrap. You did an outside corner board and wrap,
That kind of helped visually,
separated two.
yeah, because you had the high roof, low roof, and the low roof kind of wrapped it, so you kind of had the visual overhang. Maybe I'm not exactly sure what's happening there. It's not the right angle,
Okay.
but just right now, this feels like. Looking at this right here, yeah. That detail. Right now, it's like we got a roof is gap in between. It looks odd, actually.
especially with the kind of pink gutter.
And it was recommended that we do not continue that roof across, we did want to create a separation there, is that,
So,
yeah.
with this design currently.
Certain.
So what's the side addition?
That was a, Design Edition.
Yeah.
That was,
Is longer.
is no longer, yeah, we went away from that. That was a cantilever, there's an existing cantilever bump out that they were, looking to push out.
Question is gonna be, right now in the existing floor plan, you have bathroom to the left, kitchen to the right, porch. Looks like in the proposed floor plan, bathroom's getting bigger, kind of pushing the kitchen, which is pushing out the porch.
Correct.
Everything seems to be kind of getting gutted in there. Is there any thought to, rather than closing the porch, coming out the back, kind of rotating the bathroom, have the kitchen back in the larger space so the porch doesn't get.
Okay.
Just thought, not sure that kind of came across your mind at all.
Yeah, we did try to push that out the backside, really didn't have enough room. We were gaining about 2 feet of usable space. Our first plan to do that and right now off the table, but the client did prefer to push it forward and.
Sure. When it comes to the hearing, the real question with the commission is, I think the porches, historic feature should not be removed. Not putting on addition, I think that's the fundamental question.
That's prove that it's so much.
They don't have the information right now, but I'm sure that's some of them were back in play for this.
Yes, it's in the file. I'm looking at the roof box up. Guideline driven.
I can have that information for the next year. Janet, let's get more maps in.
Another thing that could help the case, is porch. I'm assuming those panels under the porch can come off. If they were looking underneath that porch to see kind of what the condition is, what kind of wood is there. If it's new lumber, it might have some dating things on it. Improved lumber there is 30 years old. Hey, slam dunk. It's not historic.
Okay.
You're good to go.
The plan was under impression as a 1960 edition, but I don't have a confirmed date on that.
Columbus, if it's 40 years old, it's considered historic.
Okay, all right.
Ashley's 50, Columbus is a little more stringent.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some more recent.
Okay. Perfect, all right. Back to the exploration, see if we can find an invitation to a date.
There need to be a board ceiling. Especially that window box.
Yeah.
Next question is looking at the window trim details. A little hard to tell on the existing photos. Look ready when you zoom in. Looks like all the trim is just square flush, nothing's really sticking out. I guess proposal is just to copy the existing trim on the new.
Guidelines say you have to treat, in addition. No, I'm not,
It is-
somebody made that point about the windows, the culvert, yeah.
Siding that you know it's on.
It is aluminum. The corner boards are wrapped in aluminum as well.
Oh,
The question is gonna become, so the addition piece looks like you're choosing to do more sheet good paneling. Correct. Not any kind of something. Where you're cutting into that aluminum siding. Plan of how you're gonna minimize damage when you start pulling.
Absolutely.
You might have had the side to tie that building. It's not a good thing to do. Go back to one.
For the applicant, because it's a conceptual review, the typical deadline for April would be tomorrow, but you have an extra week, so your deadline will be next Thursday, if you want to be on the April agenda. Otherwise, November after that, you can meet the other standard deadlines for subsequent months.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for coming in. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Item 6, we continue that. Applicant's not here. So UV dash 24-03-012-612 Mohawk Street. Is there a motion to continue?
There's a motion to continue.
Second.
Yes.
You did recuse.
Oh, that's right, I can't do that, thank you.
I moved to.
Thank you.
Continue to 612 Mohawk Street.
Second.
Yes, second. Any question on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Ayes have the motion passes.
Highly biased about it.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh.
So moved. Mr. Chairman, I would motion to adjourn.
Oh, thank
Second.
Second.
Any question on the motion?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Too bad. We can't.
you. Which I.